Chapter 2653 Kong Xian Planet. The atmosphere between the powerhouses from the indestructible sword sect and the Kong Xian sect was filled with the smell of gunpowder. In the end, the expert from the indestructible sword sect waved his sleeve and snorted coldly, not saying anything. Following that, the three overlord forces and the top 10 sects began to invite Yangchong, Huya, and Golden Sage. In the end, the Golden Sage joined the Eternal Sword sect. Huya had joined the Unique Devil Academy. Yangchong had joined the Boundless Holy Land. Of course, the Kong Xian sect and the Eternal Sword sect had the greatest gains this time. The Kong Xian sect had Lu Ming, while the Inextinguishable Sword sect had Ling Hu Yi and the Golden Sage. After the few at the peak were invited, the Qin Heaven 13 clans started to invite the geniuses that had performed well before. One by one, the geniuses joined the Qin Heavenly 13 clans. Of course, most of them joined the three overlord forces, but there were also some who joined the top 10 sects because they were suitable. Not everyone was suitable to join the three overlord forces. Situ Feng, my Unique Devil Academy invites you to join us. At this moment, the expert from the Unique Demon Academy looked at Situ Feng. Situ Feng's comprehension was also extremely high, and he was chosen by the experts of the Unique Demon Academy. Situ Feng was overjoyed. This junior is willing to join the Unique Devil Academy. Situ Feng quickly bowed and said, "N." The expert from the Unique Devil Academy nodded. "Senior, I wish to bring a few people to join the Unique Devil Academy with me. Is that all right?" Situ Feng asked carefully. "Who are they?" The expert from the Unique Devil Academy asked. Situ Feng immediately told him about Kong Long and Situ Shaolai, including their ranking in the first round. "All right, sure." The expert from the Unique Devil Academy considered for a moment and nodded. "We have joined the Unique Devil Academy. We have joined the Unique Devil Academy." Outside the Dream See under the big screen, Kong Long and Situ Shao naturally saw it. They were so excited that they were about to explode. Good. Situ Haonan and Kong Ji were also overjoyed. They only felt refreshed and their mood was at ease. This way, they would not be afraid of the righteous army. Lu Ming had actually chosen the Kong Xian sect. The Kong Xian sect was only a top sect. As for Situ Feng, he had joined the Overlord Force, the Unique Demon Academy. Although Lu Ming was highly valued by Kong Xian sect, Situ Feng had become a disciple of the Unique Demon Academy and did not need to be afraid of Lu Ming. As for the Free and Unfettered sect and the Yuan Luo Palace, they wouldn't need to fear the righteous army anymore. Sure enough, the eyes of some of the leaders of the forces in the chaotic astral river also flickered. They were considering their attitude toward the righteous army, the Yuan Luo Palace, and the Unfettered sect. Although Lu Ming would be valued by the Kong Xian sect. However, Kong Xian sect was only a top sect, while the Yimo Academy was the overlord force. It was hard to tell who was stronger between Lu Ming and Situ Feng. Let's not get involved in the battle between the two sides for now. The masters of many forces in the chaotic astral river think this way. However, after some of the top geniuses were chosen, the Qin Heaven 13 clans no longer took the initiative to invite people. In the first round, those who were ranked in the top 100 in their respective battlefields were free to choose a sect. As long as the sect agreed, they could just register and it would be done. One by one, the youths began to choose the Qin Heaven 13 clans and register their information. A day later, all 1999 people who entered the second round had joined the Qin Heaven 13 clans. As for those who are eliminated in the first round, in the next few days, if anyone is chosen by the Qin Heaven 13 clans, we will naturally send someone to inform you. If there is no news after 7 days, it means that they have not been selected. The middle-aged man announced. Many people sighed and could only wait for the news nervously. If you have anything to do, get it done within 7 days. 7 days later, gather at the Kong Xian sect's base in Wanling City, and it'll bring you to their headquarters. The powerhouse from Kong Xian sect said. Lu Ming and the rest nodded. Then, everyone left the Dream and the screen above Wanling City disappeared. In the next 7 days, Wanling City was bustling with activity. Some people were celebrating, while others were waiting anxiously. Lu Ming and the rest met up with the ancestor of technique and celebrated with each other. Tong Shi had also successfully joined the Golden Pool sect. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Xian Yanjuan arrived at the base of the Kong Xian sect in the city of Wanling. Myriad Spirit Planet was the largest commercial planet in the Qin Heaven Star Zone. The Qin Heaven 13 clans all had shops on Myriad Spirit Planet and even caravans, so they naturally had bases. Lu Ming and the others gathered in a huge mansion. Other than Lu Ming and the group, there were some other people. The total number was about 150 people. This was the total number of disciples that the Kong Xian sect had recruited this time. In the vast Qin Heaven galaxy, more than 1 million geniuses were selected. In the end, the Kong Xian sect only selected 150 people. This probability could be said to be very low. When Lu Ming and the others arrived, many eyes turned to them. Lu Ming and the other two were very eye-catching. Lu Ming's talent was amazing and he came in first in the assessment. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan were both beautiful and looked almost identical. It was hard not to attract attention when the three of them stood together. Most of the people looked at Lu Ming with admiration, but some of them had a strong fighting spirit. After all, his cultivation base had been suppressed during the assessment. Many of them actually had very high cultivation levels, far above Lu Ming's. They had powerful combat abilities, but they still looked down on and were hostile to Lu Ming, who had not become Brother Lu. A young man smiled and greeted Lu Ming. Brother Deng. Lu Ming also smiled. This young man was the person who had fought against Lu Ming in the 20th zone in the first round of the assessment, Deng Yu. Back then, when he lost to Lu Ming, he was convinced of his defeat and had no hostility toward Lu Ming. Later on, when he saw Lu Ming coming in first in the 8th assessment, he was even more impressed. It was obvious that Deng Yu had also joined the Kong Xian sect. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. At this moment, several figures flashed and appeared. The person in the lead was the powerhouse from the Kong Xian sect. He had been in charge of the Kong Xian sect's disciple recruitment this time. Let me introduce myself. Immortal, an outer sect elder of the Kong Xian sect. Now, follow me, I'll bring you to the headquarters of the Kong Xian sect. The elder said. Huoquan made a brief introduction and then led Lu Ming and the rest to a teleportation array. The Kong Xian sect was one of the Qin Tian 13 sects and was ranked first among the top 10 sections. It was extremely powerful and the territory it occupied was vast. The Kong Xian sect occupied dozens of galaxies and countless vital planets. The headquarters of the Kong Xian sect was called the Kong Xian planet. The Kong Xian planet was a huge life planet. Around it, there were 8 other huge planets. Chapter 2654 Outer Sect Myriad Spirit Planet was very far away from planet Kong Xian. Even though they had been using the teleportation formation, it took them a month to reach one of the planets near planet Kong Xian. The teleportation formation couldn't teleport directly to the Kong Xian planet. It could only teleport to the planets around the Kong Xian planet. They stood on this planet and looked into the They could see a huge star slowly rotating in the void. That was planet Kong Xian. On this planet, beams of light shot up into the sky and flew toward planet Kong Xian. A starship. All of them were starships. At first glance, most of the rainbow lights were starships, rushing into sea and flying toward planet Kong Xian. At a glance, there were at least a few thousand starships. This scene was shocking. As expected of the Kong Xian sect. Lu Ming sighed. He could not calm down. Chaotic Astral River's righteous army was indeed incomparable to the Kong Xian sect. The difference was too great. The righteous army only had a dozen or so interplanetary warships, and they were all of the lowest grade. But here, at a glance, there were thousands of them. There was no comparison at all. The righteous heavenly army was like a remote village, while planet Kong Xian was like an international metropolis. Huoquan took out an interstellar battleship. The interstellar battleship expanded rapidly and floated in the air. "Let's get into the starship," Huoquan said. After everyone had entered, Huoquan took control of the starship and flew towards planet Kongxian. This interplanetary warship was of a higher grade and much faster than the ones of the Righteous Army. From the inside, one could see that the Kongxian planet was slowly growing larger, until it finally covered the sky and blocked everyone's vision. After passing through the atmosphere of Kongxian planet, everyone got out of the starship. Under Huoquan's lead, they flew in one direction and soon came to a huge mountain. This mountain range stretched on endlessly and was incomparably huge. One could see that there were all sorts of buildings built on it. From time to time, there would be people flying in the air. This is the outer court district of the Kongxian sect. All the disciples who have just joined are considered outer court disciples of the Kongxian sect. Only when you break through to the true Jianghu stage can you enter the inner sect area and become an inner sect disciple of the Kongxian sect. You'll be able to enjoy all kinds of benefits, Huoquan said. Everyone nodded. In fact, most of the sects had similar rules. The hierarchy was strict, and it was also to stimulate the disciples to cultivate hard. Of course, if you want to become an inner sect disciple, there are also restrictions. Within 1,000,000 years, if you can't break through to the true Jianghu realm, you'll lose the qualification to become an inner sect disciple forever. You can only go to other planets and help the sect manage some businesses, Huoquan said. 1,000,000 years. Many people's hearts trembled, and then they revealed determined expressions. In 1,000,000 years, they had to break through to the true Jianghu realm. 1,000,000 years might seem long, but it was nothing to a martial G. In the martial Jianghu realm, if one did not have some natural treasures or supreme-grade divine pills, it would be extremely difficult to break through each level. It would take a lot of time, especially the bottleneck from virtual Jianghu level to true Jianghu level. Many people would be stuck for hundreds of thousands of years, millions of years, or even tens of millions or hundreds of millions of years. They were all very young, all under 10,000 years old. Although they were all talented, they couldn't guarantee that they could all break through to the true Jianghu realm within 1,000,000 years. If he couldn't break through to true Jianghu, he would have to be assigned to other planets to help Kongxian sect manage their businesses. In that case, his achievements in the future would be limited if he was distracted. Within 1,000,000 years, I will definitely become a true Jianghu and an inner sect disciple. I'm already at the 3rd level of the void Jianghu realm. I'll definitely break through within 1,000,000 years. The 150 youths all had determined gazes and were extremely confident in themselves. Huoquan saw this and smiled casually. He had lived for a long time and had seen too many geniuses that appeared once every 1,000 years. Every one of them had great confidence at the beginning. However, every year, many people couldn't break through within 1,000,000 years. Most of them were stuck at the peak of the void Jianghu realm. Of course, he wouldn't say it out loud to hurt everyone's confidence. "Follow me, let's go," Huoquan said as he flew toward the mountain range ahead. The group followed him, and soon, they arrived at the mountain range's exit. 2 young men, a man and a woman, came over to welcome them. "Greetings, Elder Hua." The 2 young men bowed. Huoquan nodded and said to Lu Ming and the rest, "Follow these 2 senior brothers and sisters to find a place to stay. After you've settled down, you'll have to register your information at the Human Affairs Hall in 3 days and receive your ident. 1. Thai tokens. I'm going to report your matter now." With that, Huoquan turned into a rainbow and left. Junior brothers and sisters, we outer sect disciples live separately for men and women. Men live in one area, and women live in another area. "Junior sisters, follow me," the woman said, then turned around and flew into the mountain range. "Lu Ming, I'll be leaving first," Xian Yanqing said to Lu Ming. "Go." Lu Ming smiled and nodded. Then, Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanjuan, and the other female disciples left with the woman. There were more than 150 of them. There were fewer women, about 50 of them, and the remaining 100 were all male disciples. "My fellow junior brothers, follow me," the man said. He turned around and left, and everyone followed. Soon they came to a building. There were courtyards here, and each one was extremely spacious. "This is where the outer sect disciples will live. You can choose for yourself. There is a sign on the door of each courtyard. However, if there is someone living here, the sign will be taken off. You can choose those with the sign. You can choose at will. After you've made your choice, report to the Human Resources Hall within 3 days." After saying that, the young man turned around and left, as if he had some concerns. Lu Ming and the group were puzzled, but they did not care. They walked toward the courtyards. Sweet. At this moment, the door of a courtyard opened and a few young men walked out. They looked at Lu Ming and the rest with a mocking expression. "The once-in-millennium newcomer is here again." One of the young men chuckled and walked toward Lu Ming and the rest. "Greetings, senior brothers." Some people greeted the young men. After all, they were new here, and some people didn't dare to act rashly. It was obvious that one of the young men was the leader. It was a young man in a yellow robe. He had an aquiline nose and a sharp face. He nodded and glanced at Lu Ming and the others. "Right now, you still don't have the right to choose a courtyard. I'm not qualified to choose a courtyard yet. However, that senior brother just now," someone said. "Nonsense, I have the final say here." The yellow-robed young man's eyes turned cold as he rebuked, "If you want to choose a courtyard, you can. But you have to pay 10,000 divine crystals each." "What? 10,000 divine crystals?" someone exclaimed. 10,000 divine crystals wasn't a small amount. Chapter 2655 Extortion. That's right, 10,000 yuan per person. After you hand it over, you can choose a courtyard to stay in. Those who don't hand it over are not qualified to stay. Let me tell you, those who don't stay in a courtyard are not considered Kong Xian sect disciples, and can only get out of the sect. Do you understand? The yellow-robed young man said coldly. Extortion. This was blatant extortion. Moreover, their appetites were astonishingly large. If each of them was given 10,000 divine crystals, then 100 of them would be equivalent to 1 million divine crystals. What a huge sum of money was this? You guys? This is extortion. I'm going to tell Elder Huaquan about this. Some people roared, unwilling to be extorted. Bullshit, what extortion? You're new to the Kong Xian sect, so you should show respect to your senior brother, understand? The yellow-robed young man rebuked. His eyes flashed with a sinister light. It's fine if you don't respect me, and it's fine if you dare to tell the elders. However, you must be careful in the Kong Xian sect from now on. Don't blame me for not warning you if you're crippled. A threat. It was a blatant threat. Some people's eyes flashed with fear. They had just arrived and were unfamiliar with the place, so they simply couldn't compete with these senior disciples. If the other party specifically came to find trouble with them, no one would be able to take it. Hurry up and hand it over. Whoever doesn't hand it over, I guarantee that you won't be able to stay in the Kong Xian sect. The yellow-robed youth threatened. I don't believe that no one will take care of such a large Kong Xian sect. I'll go find Elder Huaquan and ask him to uphold justice. A burly young man roared and turned to leave. You're looking for death. The yellow-robed young man shouted coldly. His figure flashed and he rushed towards the burly young man. His palm was like a knife and he struck at the burly young man. The wind from the palm whistled, and its power was astonishing. 5th level Void God Realm. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. The yellow-robed young man's cultivation was at the 5th level of the Void God Realm. The burly young man turned around and shouted as he punched. However, the burly young man's cultivation was only at the 3rd level of the Void God Realm, which was too far away from the yellow-robed young man's cultivation. The fist and palm collided, and the burly young man spat out a mouthful of blood. His arm was broken, and he flew 100 meters away before falling to the ground and coughing up blood. This is the outcome of anyone who doesn't obey. The yellow-robed young man's eyes were gloomy as he swept his gaze across Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming's expression was calm. But the others didn't look too good. Overbearing, too overbearing. Moreover, the yellow-robed young man's cultivation was extremely high. He was at the 5th level of the Void God realm. In their group, no one had surpassed this cultivation. The Qin Heaven 13 clans recruited disciples once every 1,000 years. Hence, they weren't very old. Many of them hadn't cultivated for more than 1,000 years. Even those who had cultivated for longer didn't exceed 2,000 years. Their cultivation wouldn't be very high. The person with the highest cultivation base in Lu Ming's group was also at 5th level Void God level, which was the same as the yellow-robed young man. However, the yellow-robed young man had joined the Kong Xian sect a long time ago, so he must have cultivated an incomplete divine skill. Moreover, he must have reached a high level of mastery. Therefore, even those at the 5th level of the Void God realm were most likely not his match, so they did not dare to make a move. After all, there were too few people like the Golden Sage and Huya. They had already reached the 9th level of the Void God realm at such a young age. In the surrounding courtyards, some senior disciples were also using their spiritual senses to observe. Huangwu, you're really overbearing. You're attacking the new disciples again. What can we do? Who asked him to have a big brother with a strong background? Besides, other people want to save face, but he doesn't. He doesn't want face. That's right. We can only blame these new disciples for their bad luck. Pay 10,000 divine crystals for safety. I paid 10,000 1,000 years ago. Some of the senior disciples were secretly communicating with each other. Hurry up and hand it over. I don't have that much time to waste with you guys. The yellow-robed young man, Huang Wu, swept his cold gaze across Lu Ming and the rest. I'll pay. Finally, someone wavered. He took out 10,000 divine crystals and handed them to Huang Wu. I'll pay too. I'll pay. Many people came up one after another and handed over 10,000 divine crystals. He had no choice but to lower his head, so he would just treat it as spending money to get rid of a disaster. Kid, it's your turn. A young man beside Huang Wu cast a cold glance at Lu Ming. I'm sorry, I don't have any divine crystals. Lu Ming spread his hands casually and walked toward a courtyard. Brats, stop! Huang Wu coldly shouted. However, Lu Ming did not seem to hear it and continued to move forward. I told you to stop, are you deaf? Huang Wu shouted. Of course I'm not deaf. As Lu Ming walked, he turned around and cast a glance at Huang Wu. However, who do you think you are to stop just because you told me to? What? Huang Wu was stunned. Lu Ming actually dared to speak to him in this manner? How dare a newbie talk to him like that? He was not the only one. The senior disciples who were watching were also very surprised. This kid is really a hot-headed boy. He dared to say that about Huang Wu. I'm afraid he'll end up in a miserable state. It's hard to say. Since he dares to ignore Huang Wu like this, could he be a heaven's favorite from some major power? This? I can't say for sure. The senior disciples were all moved. It wasn't impossible. In the Qin Heaven Star region, other than a few extremely terrifying races and the Qin Heaven 13 clans, there were also some other powerful forces and races. These forces would also choose young geniuses to join the Qin Heaven 13 clans. For example, the Tigermen tribe was like this. If he came from a powerful clan, it was normal for him to have such confidence. Huang Wu was stunned for a moment, but he had also thought of this. His eyes glinted as he glanced at Lu Ming. Kid, you've got guts. Which galaxy are you from? Chaotic Astral River. Lu Ming said indifferently. What? Chaotic Astral River? That astral river of ruins? Some of the senior disciples, including Huang Wu, were stunned. He really came from the chaotic astral river? Huang Wu asked the other new disciple to confirm. Yes, he is indeed from the chaotic astral river. The new disciple nodded. Huang Wu immediately felt relieved. That brat is finished. He's from the chaotic astral river, and he actually dares to be so arrogant. Some senior disciples shook their heads. In their eyes, it was already a miracle for a trifling person from the chaotic astral river to join the Kong Xian sect, yet he still dared to be so arrogant. As expected of someone from a small place, he was short-sighted. Some of the senior disciples muttered to themselves. As for Huang Wu, his eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. Brat, kneel down and apologize for what you just said. Then hand over 100,000 divine crystals, and well, let this matter go. Otherwise, it'll break your limbs and make you pay the price. Huang Wu said in a mocking tone. Idiot. Lu Ming said indifferently, turned around and continued to walk. You're looking for death. Huang Wu flew into a rage. Like an eagle, he pounced at Lu Ming, his palm as sharp as a blade, slashing at Lu Ming. Buzz. Lu Ming clenched his fist in the air. His divine power condensed into a long spear and he swept it out. Chapter 2656. Beating him up. Lu Ming's spear swept out. This time, Lu Ming had used an incomplete divine skill. Moreover, he had unleashed the power of the 4th level, which was 9 levels of strength. It surged out and collided with Huang Wu's palm. Boom! There was a violent explosion. Lu Ming retreated rapidly, his steps causing the ground to explode. As for Huang Wu, he also retreated. This attack was evenly matched. This kid is so strong. It was still all right for the new disciples as they knew Lu Ming's strength. The senior disciples around them were all shocked that Lu Ming could block Huang Wu's attack and even push him back. This level of strength could be said to be shocking. Most importantly, they were even more shocked when they realized that Lu Ming's cultivation was only at demi-G. Oh, D level after scanning with their spiritual senses. This kid, Huang Wu's eyes narrowed. Earlier on, he saw that Lu Ming's cultivation base was only at demi-G. Oh, D level. So he did not use his full strength in the attack just now. However, with his cultivation base, even if he did not use his full strength, he could easily suppress an ordinary 4th-tier virtual G. Oh, D existence. Yet, he was repelled by Lu Ming with one move. Kid, you have some strength, but I was far from using my full strength just now. Now, I'll let you see what a senior brother is and what a rookie is. And invest. Huang Wu coldly said, his divine power surging out. Bang! He charged at Lu Ming and struck out with his palm again. A blade of light shot out from his palm and slashed at Lu Ming. Huang Wu had used almost all of his strength in this move, and he had also used an incomplete divine skill. He had cultivated for many years and had already cultivated the incomplete divine skill to the 5th level. Its power was astonishing. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. To be honest, Huang Wu's strength was shocking. The divine power he controlled was king-grade divine power, and he had cultivated an incomplete divine skill. He was far from being comparable to those 5th-level Void G. Oh, D realm cultivators from the Righteous Army and Origin Luo Palace. Without any hesitation, Lu Ming activated the battle formula that doubled his combat strength. In an instant, Lu Ming's combat strength increased greatly. Boom! Lu Ming's long spear once again collided with the Huang Wu. This time, the vibration was greater and stronger. Their bodies trembled violently again, and they were forced to retreat. What? He blocked it again. This time, Huang Wu used all his strength, but he was actually blocked. Is that kid still human? This is a demi-G. T. Are you kidding me? The senior disciples who were watching in secret were dumbfounded. Even the new disciples who had seen Lu Ming in action during the assessment widened their eyes in shock. During the assessment, Lu Ming was not that powerful. This was only natural. During the assessment, Lu Ming could not use the battle formula. Now that he could use it, it was naturally powerful. This kid, how is this possible? I don't believe it. Huang Wu roared in his heart. His eyes were incomparably ferocious as he charged at Lu Ming again. His palm was like a blade, and the blade chi was unceasingly slashing at Lu Ming. Lu Ming used his divine power to form a long spear. He was not afraid at all as he charged towards Huang Wu. At the same time, Lu Ming exerted the incomplete divine skill to its maximum, urging it to the 6th level to fight against Huang Wu. The two of them exchanged dozens of moves in an instant, and Lu Ming began to gain the upper hand. Monster, what kind of monster is this? The senior disciples almost bit off their tongues. A demi-G. Oh, D was actually able to suppress Huang Wu, who was at the 5th level of the Void D realm. Moreover, Huang Wu was not an ordinary 5th level Void D realm expert. He was a heaven's favorite. The two young men who followed Huang Wu couldn't do anything at all. Their cultivation base was even lower than Huang Wu's. Brat, I'm going to cripple you. Huang Wu roared. And NBSP, a battle saber, appeared in his hand. This battle saber was a low-quality level 6 divine artifact. With the divine weapon in hand, his strength had increased by a large margin. Do you think you're the only one who has a divine artifact? Lu Ming said coldly. A long spear appeared in his hand. Lu Ming had obtained this long spear from the deity's cave abode. It was a level 9 low-grade divine artifact. Buzz. The long spear trembled as he performed the incomplete divine skill. In an instant, 13 layers of power burst out. Clang. Huang Wu's body shook violently, and he was forced to retreat. The arm that was holding the saber was in great pain, and it was almost split open. A level 9 low-grade D artifact. Huang Wu roared, his eyes burning as he stared at the long spear in Lu Ming's hands. And NBSP, a level 9 low-quality D artifact, would at least cost 100,000 D crystals on the market. Lu Ming, a demi-G D actually had a level 9 low-grade divine artifact. Kid, hand over the divine artifact and he'll let this matter rest. Huang Wu roared. Idiot, you want to just let it go like that, but I don't want to. Lu Ming said coldly. He used the ROC wings technique and in a flash, he attacked Huang Wu. Huang Wu was furious and could only try his best to resist. Clang, clang. Lu Ming took out a level 9 low-grade divine artifact. His combat power was undoubtedly stronger and he completely suppressed Huang Wu. After a few moves, the saber in Huang Wu's hand flew out. He spat out a large mouthful of blood and retreated quickly. Bang! Lu Ming swept his spear across and whipped Huang Wu's body. Huang Wu fell to the ground and vomited a large mouthful of blood. His face was filled with shock and anger. Brat, you dare to hurt me? I'll make sure you die a horrible death. Huang Wu roared. You talk too much nonsense, get lost. Lu Ming's spear swept out and Huang Wu was swept away like a cannonball. He turned into a black dot and could no longer be seen. After sending Huang Wu flying, Lu Ming took a deep breath and kept Huang Wu's saber. The value of a level 6 low-grade divine artifact wasn't low either. It could be exchanged for quite a few divine artifact fragments for Qiuqiu to eat. As Qiuqiu's level increased, this fellow's appetite also became stronger. This fellow even despised low-level divine artifact fragments and insisted on eating divine artifact fragments that were of a higher level than itself. Brat, how dare you injure Huang Wu? Do you know who he is? You're dead for sure, you know that? One of the young men who came with Huang Wu shouted. Get lost. If you don't, he'll beat you up as well. Lu Ming's cold gaze swept across the two young men. The two young men shivered, revealing a look of fear. They didn't dare to say anything more and left dejectedly. This newbie is really crazy, a demi-G D with such terrifying combat strength must be a peerless genius. However, Huang Wu's background isn't simple. His elder brother is a top figure among the inner disciples, and he's from the Holy Sons faction. I'm afraid this newcomer won't have a good time in the future. That's right. Unless he also has a backer, he's finished. Some of the senior disciples were discussing. Some of the new disciples were stunned as well. They did not expect Lu Ming to be so domineering that he even dared to beat up the senior disciples. Many people's eyes flickered. Then, they went to find a courtyard to stay in without a word. They did not dare to get too close to Lu Ming for fear of being implicated. Brother Lu, thank you. At this moment, Deng Yu walked over and cupped his fists. What are you thanking me for? I just don't want to give you the D crystals. Lu Ming smiled. Brother Lu, you have to be careful. Those few people dared to extort new disciples in public. I'm afraid they have a strong background. I'm afraid they will take revenge later. Deng Yu reminded. Well, deal with whatever comes our way, and well, deal with whatever comes our way. Lu Ming smiled. What hadn't he experienced on his journey? What kind of risk had he not encountered? His mind was already extremely firm. Chapter 2657 Demi-G. Oh, D? Next, Lu Ming randomly found an empty courtyard to stay in. At the entrance of the courtyard, there was a sign with the number 86 on it. Lu Ming took the sign down and kept it, indicating that there was someone living there. It seems like I have to break through as soon as possible and reach the void Jianghu realm. Lu Ming pondered. On the surface, he didn't have any expression on his face, but he was actually feeling a little anxious. Although he was powerful, this was the Kong-Shen sect. As one of the Qin Heaven 13 clans, geniuses were as common as clouds. Those who could cultivate here were all geniuses. It was difficult to count how many geniuses had been ACCU, mulat over the countless years. Only those who failed to become true DS in a million years would be sent to other planets to take care of some matters. In other words, just the outer sect alone already had a million years of heaven's favorites. How many of them were there? Every 1,000 years, there would be more than 100 people. In a million years, it would exceed 100,000. Moreover, the Kong-Shen sect did not solely rely on the once-in-millennium assessment to recruit disciples. Usually, there were also some powerhouses who traveled to various vital planets to find talented people who could be directly accepted into the sect. The number of people who joined in this way was not small. Over the past million years, their numbers had also reached a shocking number. Even though there were many who had broken through to real D and become inner disciples, there were still many who stayed. It was probably close to 100,000 people. These people were all powerful and talented. Facing these talents, Lu Ming's ability to fight above his level would be greatly reduced. Lu Ming sat cross-legged and meditated. At the same time, news of the battle between Lu Ming and Huang Wu had spread among the outer sect disciples. What? A new disciple defeated Huang Wu? Huang Wu's cultivation is at ethereal D realm level 5. He has also cultivated the incomplete divine skill to level 5. He's very strong. It's not easy for a new disciple to defeat Huang Wu. He's indeed not simple. Could he be a heaven's favorite from some big clan? Many people were guessing. After all, the Qin Heaven 13 clans would recruit a batch of disciples every 1,000 years. Those with talent and strength would usually partake. They wouldn't rely on their age. Therefore those who aided in the assessment to recruit disciples had not cultivated for a long time, so their cultivation would not be too deep. In the history of the sect, there were not many senior disciples who could defeat Huang Wu as soon as they joined. Wei Qing, you were there too. Do you know Lu Ming's background and which galaxy he comes from? He asked. Someone asked a young man who was present at the scene. From the chaotic astral river, I heard him say so himself. Wei Qing said. What? From the chaotic astral river? There's actually such a person in the chaotic astral river? Could it be that his cultivation level has Serpa? Said Huang Wu's. Wei Qing, is Lu Ming's cultivation higher than Huang Wu's? Is he at the 6th level of the void D realm? Otherwise, how could he be Huang Wu's match? The Qin Heavenly 13 clans have never opened up to the chaotic astral river. There are some heaven's favorites in the chaotic astral river who have trained for close to 10,000 years. It's not impossible for them to reach the 6th level of the void D realm. Yes, that's definitely the case. Many people were certain that Lu Ming must have cultivated for nearly 10,000 years and his cultivation level must have Serpa. Said Huang Wu's to be able to defeat him. His cultivation base isn't higher than Huang Wu's. Wei Qing was speechless. What? Didn't Serpa? As Huang Wu? Could he also be at the 5th level of the void D realm? He's at the same level as a yellow warrior, and he can defeat a yellow warrior when he just entered the sect? Is that for real? One of the older outer sect disciples was in disbelief. If that's the case, then this person's comprehension ability is astonishing. He must have cultivated the incomplete divine skill to an extremely high level. Or perhaps, he had a fortuitous encounter a long time ago and obtained another incomplete divine skill. He must have cultivated it for many years before he could defeat Huang Wu. Another old outer sect disciple guessed. Sai, let me tell you, that Lu Ming isn't even on virtual G. Oh, D level. Wei Qing said. Not ethereal G. Oh, D realm? Wei Qing, you must be mistaken. If he's not at the ethereal G. Oh, D realm, is he at the true G. Oh, D realm? A man who has cultivated for less than 10,000 years has reached the true G. Oh, D realm? Moreover, even if he's a true G. D, he can't come to the outer sect. I guess he'll become an inner sect disciple directly. Many outer sect disciples looked at him in disdain. Who said he's on true G? Oh, D level. He's not a true G. Oh, D or a virtual G. Oh, D. He's a demi-G. D. Do you guys understand what a demi-G? Oh, D is? Wei Qing was anxious and said it in one breath. The entire place fell silent. Then, the crowd burst into laughter. Haha, Wei Qing, are you crazy? A demi-G. Oh, D? A demi-G. Oh, D can defeat Huang Wu? Wei Qing, are you talking in your sleep? Do you think we're 3-year-old kids that can be easily fooled? Everyone scoffed and didn't believe him at all. They mocked Wei Qing. Wei Qing's face turned red and he shouted, that's the truth. Lu Ming has a demi-G. Oh, D cultivation, and he defeated Huang Wu. I wasn't the only one who saw it. There were others who saw it too. Also, new outer disciples are required to register at the Human Affairs Hall within 3 days to collect their item. 1. Tai tokens. They will also be tested for their cultivation. If you don't believe me, we can wait at the Human Affairs Hall. When Lu Ming arrives, you'll know that I'm not lying. Seeing Wei Qing's expression, the others also became silent. Could it be that Wei Qing was telling the truth? And NBSP, however, they still found it hard to believe that a demi-G. Oh, D could actually defeat Huang Wu. In fact, even Wei Qing himself wouldn't have believed it if he hadn't seen it with his own eyes. Let's go. Well, wait at the Human Affairs Palace. I don't believe it. Let's go. A group of people headed towards the Human Affairs Hall and waited there. A few hours later, Lu Ming had recovered to his peak state. He got up and headed to the Human Affairs Hall. The Human Affairs Hall was an outer sect disciple of the Kongxian sect. Everyone knew where it was. Lu Ming found the Human Affairs Hall easily after asking around. The Human Resources Hall was a huge hall. He's here. Lu Ming is here. That's Lu Ming. Wei Qing pointed at Lu Ming and shouted as soon as he arrived. That kid is Lu Ming? I'd like to see what his cultivation level is. An outer sect disciple extended his spiritual consciousness, wanting to probe Lu Ming's cultivation. Lu Ming sensed it instantly. His spiritual sense rushed out and blocked the person's peeping. That person's spiritual sense retracted and he said, he's discovered us, but he hasn't found anything. Let's just wait and see. Lu Ming swept a glance at the group of people and then stepped into the hall. Wei Qing and the others followed from a distance. In fact, there were many people who were as curious as Wei Qing and the others. They all stood aside and watched as if nothing had happened. Lu Ming came to a counter. An elder at the counter looked at Lu Ming and said, "Are you a new disciple?" "Yes." Lu Ming nodded. "Name Eich from that galaxy. Report them all." The old man said, Lu Ming. Lu Ming reported his information. "Put your divine power into this crystal ball. It will test your cultivation." The old man took out a crystal ball and said it to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. He took the crystal ball and inserted his divine energy into it. The crystal ball started to glow. Oh, D? The old man was a little surprised. He then registered Lu Ming's information. Oh, D, look. It's really half of his body. The old outer disciples who were watching nearby were all dumbfounded. Lu Ming was really a demi-G. Oh, D. Chapter 2658. The Tianhong Saint's son. The senior outer disciples were all dumbfounded. Previously, they did not believe that Lu Ming was a demi-G. D. However, at this moment, they had no choice but to believe it. That was because the crystal ball test could not be faked. Lu Ming had actually defeated Huang Wu, who was at 5th level Void G. Oh, D realm with his Demi G. Oh, D level cultivation base. How was this possible? This was simply like a fantasy story. Monstrous, a true monstrous genius. Many people looked at Lu Ming with grave eyes. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile. Of course, he knew what the people around him were up to. Previously, he had defeated Huang Wu with the intention of establishing his might. Lu Ming had experienced too much along the way. He naturally understood that no matter where he went, newbies would be bullied. Therefore, only by showing his strong abilities would others be in awe of him. He would have less trouble then. Otherwise, how could he cultivate if a bunch of people kept provoking him? This way, there would be fewer outer sect disciples who would dare to provoke him. After registering his information, the elder Paas said an ident. 1. Tai token to Lu Ming. Lu Ming took the ident. 1. Tai token, turned around, and left the place. Brother Lu. Lu Ming had just walked out of the Human Affairs Hall when someone shouted from behind. Deng Yu had caught up to him. Brother Deng, what's the matter? Lu Ming smiled. Brother Lu, I've just heard that Huang Wu's background is extraordinary. Deng Yu said. Oh, what's his background? Lu Ming asked. I heard that Deng Yu's big brother is a heaven's favorite among the inner disciples. He's very powerful. Also, his big brother's master is an inner elder, and he's exceptionally powerful. Deng Yu said with a solemn expression. Lu Ming raised his eyebrows. He did not expect Huang Wu to have such a background. However, since he had already done it, there was nothing to be afraid of. He would deal with it as it came. Brother Deng, thank you. Lu Ming smiled. After knowing Huang Wu's background, Deng Yu still dared to come and tell him. He was a good person and was worth befriending. He did not see the others, but they had already stayed far away from Lu Ming. The two of them chatted as they returned to their residence. Back in his room, Lu Ming sat cross-legged. With a thought, an exquisite dagger appeared in Lu Ming's hands. This dagger was given to him by the ancestor of technique. He had asked him to bring it to a woman named Yuexin from the Kongxian sect. However, according to the ancestor of technique, Yuexin was the daughter of an important figure in the Kongxian sect and was most likely not in the outer sect. He was in the outer sect now, so it would not be easy to find Yuexin. When there's time, find someone to investigate. Lu Ming thought to himself. Then, he kept the dagger and took out a jade bottle. The jade bottle contained the spirit-strengthening pill. The spirit-strengthening pill could increase the strength of his divine power and refine it. It was extremely helpful for Void G. D realm cultivators to break through. After one's cultivation reached the Demi G. D realm, there was no need to comprehend any Dao, especially Demi G. DS and Virtual G. TS. As long as one refined their divine power, their cultivation would naturally increase. However, without the help of divine pills or natural treasures, this process would be very slow. After consuming a spirit-strengthening pill, Lu Ming began to refine it. The spirit-strengthening pill turned into waves of energy and gushed into the divine fire in Lu Ming's dantian. It was continuously refined by the divine fire and then transformed into divine power. At the same time, the rich divine qi in the surrounding sea continued to gather towards Lu Ming. It surged into Lu Ming's body and was refined by him, slowly turning into divine power. A few days later, Lu Ming finished refining a spirit-strengthening pill and ended his cultivation. The divine qi on Kongxian planet is too dense. Cultivating here is several times faster than cultivating in the chaotic astral river. If this continues, he'll be able to become AGOD in less than a year. Lu Ming revealed a faint smile. After a few days of cultivation, Lu Ming felt that the divine fire in his body had grown stronger. There were traces of divine power flowing out of the divine fire and flowing into the meridians in his body. It was a slow process for a demi-G. D to advance to the virtual G. D realm. Most people would have to stay for a long time. However, the divine qi on Kongxian planet was extremely rich. With the help of the spirit-strengthening pill, Lu Ming was confident that he could become AGOD within a year. Someone's there? At this moment, Lu Ming sensed that someone was flying in from outside his courtyard and stopped at the entrance. Clang. The door to his courtyard was pushed open. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. In a flash, he left the room and arrived at the courtyard. A young man walked in from the door. The man was dressed in fine clothes and had a cold and arrogant expression. He glanced at Lu Ming and smiled. "You are Lu Ming?" Although this person was smiling, his tone still revealed a trace of superiority. "That's right. And Lu Ming, did Huang Wu send you here?" Lu Ming asked. No, the young man in luxurious clothes shook his head. "Huang Wu is not qualified to send me here. Someone wants to see you. Perhaps this is a great opportunity for you." "Someone wants to see me? A lucky chance?" Lu Ming was stunned. He was new here and didn't know anyone. "That's right, come with me." The young man in luxurious clothes turned around and left after he finished speaking. Lu Ming frowned. Initially, the attitude of the young man in luxurious clothes made him uncomfortable and he did not want to go. However, he was indeed a little curious. After pondering for a moment, Lu Ming followed him. After walking out of the courtyard, they soared into the air and landed in a luxurious courtyard. This courtyard was very luxurious. It was more than 10 times larger than Lu Ming's courtyard. Furthermore, its geographical location was very good and it was filled with divine qi. Lu Ming and the young man in luxurious clothes walked into the courtyard and saw a few tables and chairs in the courtyard. A few young men were sitting on the tables and chairs, drinking and chatting. "Big brothering, I've brought the person." The young man in luxurious clothes cupped his fists towards a golden-haired young man, and then sat down at a table. Sitting at the head of the table was a golden-haired young man. He had a dignified appearance and a strong aura. One look and one could tell that he was an expert. "You are Lu Ming?" The golden-haired young man and the other young men looked at Lu Ming. "Not bad," Lu Ming said. "Sit." The golden-haired young man waved his hand and pointed to a table and chair. Lu Ming was puzzled. He was sure that he had not seen these people before. However, he was not afraid and sat down at a table and chair. "I heard that you ranked first in the 13 clans assessment." The golden-haired young man took a sip of wine and smiled. "I was just lucky," Lu Ming said. "No matter what, the fact that you're first shows that you're talented. To be honest, we're under the Tianhong Saint Sun. We belong to the Tianhong faction," the golden-haired youth said. "The Tianhong Saint Sun? The Tianhong sect?" Lu Ming had a puzzled look. "You've just arrived, so you might not know yet. Let me tell you. The Kongxian sect is extremely powerful and huge," the golden-haired young man said. "There are as many experts as there are clouds in the sky. Other than the sect leader and some supreme elders, the sect is divided into various factions, led by the Saint Sons and Saintesses." Chapter 2659 Different Factions. The golden-haired young man explained to Lu Ming in detail. In the Kongxian sect, as long as the prodigies who had mastered divine-grade divine power or divine-grade divine power had reached a certain level of cultivation, they could form their own factions. Those who could control divine power were called holy sons or holy daughters. Those who could control divine-grade divine power were called divine sons. These holy sons, holy G.O.desses, and divine sons could be said to be the candidates for the future sect master. The future sect master would definitely be born from these people. These holy sons, holy G.O.desses, and divine sons were equivalent to the princes of an empire. Every one of them had the support of many people in the Kongxian sect. The outer disciples, inner disciples, outer elders, and even inner elders all had their own supporters. As long as the person they supported became the sect leader in the future, then the people of this faction would naturally rise to the heavens. It could be said that these factions were extremely powerful in the Kongxian sect. In fact, it wasn't just the Kongxian sect that was like this. The Qin Heaven 13 clans and the other sects were the same. The The golden-haired young man and the others belonged to one of the Holy Sons, the Tianhong Holy Sons faction. When they heard that Lu Ming was the top scorer of this batch of this assessment, they wanted to rope him in to join the Tianhong sect. How is it? Join the Tianhong faction. It will be very beneficial to you. The golden-haired youth said. I'm sorry, but I don't have any plans to join any faction at the moment. Lu Ming said. The main reason he had come to the Kongxian sect was to use the sect's resources to cultivate, and he had no intention of getting involved in the struggle between the various factions. Hearing Lu Ming's rejection, the golden-haired young man and the other young men frowned. Lu Ming, I know that you offended Huang Wu a few days ago. Let me tell you, Huang Wu's background is not simple. His elder brother is a prodigy among the inner disciples, and his master is a powerful inner elder. Moreover, they belong to the Sacred Sons faction, the Sacred Son of Reflection. Huang Wu will definitely take revenge on you. As long as you join the Tianhong Saint's son, you'll be under our protection. Huang Wu won't be able to do anything to you. The golden-haired youth said. I'm sorry, but I really don't intend to join any faction. Lu Ming shook his head and refused again. Needless to say, once he joined a sect, he would become the sect's hatchet man and tool. Lu Ming was not interested in working for a certain holy son. In addition, the attitude of the young man in luxurious clothes made Lu Ming very unhappy. He did not have a good impression of the people from the Tianhong Saint Sons faction. Moreover, although the golden-haired young man was smiling, his tone was very cold and arrogant, as if he was high and mighty, looking down on Lu Ming. Kid, don't be so shameless. Don't think that you're so great just because you got first place. The disciple recruitment test of the 13 clans only happens once every 1,000 years. Over the countless years, people like you can be found everywhere. The young man in luxurious clothes slammed the table and scolded with a cold face. That's right. We invited you to join the Tianhong Saint's son because we think highly of you. Don't think too highly of yourself. You won't even know how you died. Another young man said coldly. Oh, since you don't welcome me, I'll leave. Lu Ming said indifferently. He then stood up and was about to leave. Stop. You can come and go as you please? What do you think this place is? The young man in luxurious clothes suddenly stood up and scolded. Hee, what a joke. You were the one who invited me here. Otherwise, do you think I would come? Lu Ming sneered. Kid, what's with your attitude? You're looking for death. The young man in luxurious clothes shouted coldly and circulated his divine power. A strong divine power burst out and pressed down on Lu Ming. 7th level Void G. Oh, D realm. This young man was at the 7th level of the Void G. Oh, D realm and was much stronger than Huang Wu. Lu Ming circulated his divine power, ready to strike at any moment. No matter how powerful the other party was, Lu Ming would not allow himself to be captured without putting up a fight. What's wrong? This is the style of the Tianhong Saint Sons faction. If they don't agree to join, they'll take action. If this matter gets out, we'll see who will still join the Tianhong Saint Sons faction. Lu Ming said coldly. You dare to threaten me? The eyes of the young man in luxurious clothes turned even colder, and he was about to make a move. Let him go. At this moment, the voice of the golden-haired young man sounded. Big Brother Ing. The young man in luxurious clothes said anxiously. Let him go. We, the Tianhong Saint Sons faction, will not force him. The golden-haired young man raised his hand. The young man in luxurious clothes had no choice but to retract his aura. Lu Ming strode away without looking back. After Lu Ming left, the young man in luxurious clothes said unhappily, Brother Ing, why didn't you let me teach Lu Ming a lesson? This guy doesn't know what's good for him. That's right. For him to be able to get first place, his talent is not bad. If we let him join another faction, it will not be good for us. Another young man said, Don't worry. If he doesn't join our faction, he'll be an enemy if he joins another faction. Such a person can't be allowed to live in this world. Inform the others that if they meet this person outside, they can kill him when they have the chance. However, I'm afraid he won't be able to pass Huang Wu's test. Well, just wait and watch a good show, the golden-haired youth said coldly. His previous smile had disappeared, and only killing intent remained. Since Lu Ming had gotten first place in the assessment, he must be quite talented. He had wanted to recruit Lu Ming under the Tianhong Saint Sun. After all, there was a reward for recruiting a genius. He did not expect Lu Ming to be so stubborn. I didn't expect the relationships within the Kong Xian sect to be so complicated. Forget it, I'll focus on raising my strength first. Lu Ming furrowed his brows when he returned to the courtyard. Kong Xian sect's waters ran deep, and only by being strong could one not be afraid of the outside world. Lu Ming immediately continued to refine the transformation and spirit-strengthening pill and cultivate. In another luxurious courtyard in the outer court of Kong Xian sect. This courtyard was Huang Wu's. And NBSP now that Huang Wu's injuries had healed, he was in a meeting with his lackeys. Lu Ming, I want him to die a terrible death. Huang Wu said with a cold expression. Senior brother Huang Wu, should we report this to senior brother Huang Wen and ask him to send someone to deal with Lu Ming? One of the lackeys suggested. Huang Wen was Huang Wu's elder brother. My elder brother has been in seclusion to break through to the next realm. There's no need to disturb him over such a small matter. Go and call the Lu brothers over. Let them cripple Lu Ming. Huang Wu said. Senior brother, you're so wise. The Lu brothers are both at 6th level Void G. D realm. If they join forces, they'll be able to crush Lu Ming. I'll go get them now. One of the lackeys said. In Lu Ming's courtyard, he was refining the effects of the spirit-strengthening pill when suddenly, a loud roar came from outside. Lu Ming, get out here. His voice was so loud that Lu Ming's courtyard was trembling. Lu Ming suddenly opened his eyes, a cold glint flashing in his eyes. No one would be in a good mood if they were disturbed during cultivation. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and walked out of the courtyard. He saw a few figures standing in front of him. Huang Wu. Lu Ming saw Huang Wu at one glance. Chapter 2660 Abusing Huang Wu. In addition, there were two young men beside Huang Wu. The two of them looked similar, but their figures were completely different. One of them was short and fat while the other was tall and thin. Both of them stared at Lu Ming with an unfriendly expression. It's you again looking for abuse. Lu Ming cast an indifferent glance at Huang Wu. Kid, you're good. This time, I'll cripple you. You guys go and break his limbs. I'll make him cry on the ground. Huang Wu said in a ruthless manner. It was not that he did not want to kill Lu Ming, but there was a rule in the Kong Xian sect that disciples of the same sect were not allowed to kill each other. However, fighting was not forbidden. As long as they did not kill or cripple their cultivation, they could do whatever they wanted. Otherwise, Huang Wu would have crushed Lu Ming's bones and scattered his ashes. Junior brother Huang Wu, don't worry. I'll break his limbs and make him cry on the ground like a cripple. The short and fat young man said ferociously. Divine power burst out from him, and he pressed down on Lu Ming like a mountain. At the same time, the tall and thin young man also burst out with divine power and stepped toward Lu Ming. 6th level Void G. D realm. The short and fat youth and the tall and thin youth were both at the 6th level of the Void G. D realm. The divine power they controlled was undoubtedly king-grade divine power. Lu Ming frowned slightly. With his current cultivation, he was probably not a match for a 6th level Void G. D realm expert who had king-grade divine power. Kneel down. Kneel down. The short and fat youth and the tall and thin youth shouted and attacked at the same time. Their weapons were a giant hammer. When they waved it, the power was amazing. Boom, boom. The wind whistled and the terrifying force crushed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming took a step forward and retreated rapidly. You want to leave? Say. The Lu brothers bellowed and chased after him relentlessly. Their huge hammers were like a storm, blasting towards Lu Ming. This was also an incomplete divine skill. When the two of them worked together, their power would double. Who said him leaving? At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly stopped. He waved his hand and shouted, Smash! A bangle flew out of Lu Ming's hand and turned into a huge ball, which was thrown at the short and fat young man. Get lost. The short and fat youth roared as he continued to smash the hammer on the round ball. Boom. There was a huge explosion. Then, the short and fat young man's eyes popped out. With a scream, his body flew out like a kite with a broken string. He crashed heavily on the ground and could not get up for a long time. That round ball was naturally Qiuqiu. During these days, Qiuqiu had devoured a large number of divine artifact fragments and metal attribute blacksmithing materials, and it had advanced once again. Now, Qiuqiu had already reached 5th level Void G. Oh, D level. With Qiuqiu's strength, it would not be a problem for it to defeat the short and chubby youth who was at the 6th level of the Void G. D realm. Unless the other party had reached the 7th level of the Void G. Oh, D realm and controlled king-grade divine power, he would not be able to resist Qiuqiu. After sending the chunky young man flying, Qiuqiu smacked toward the tall and thin young man. In the end, he was no different from the short and fat young man. He was sent flying by Qiuqiu and fell to the ground, vomiting blood. What? Huang Wu's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. That is a metallic life form? The commotion here had long since alarmed some of the outer sect disciples in the nearby courtyards, and the scene of Qiuqiu smashing the Lu brothers flying was naturally seen by them. Those people were shocked. He did not expect Lu Ming to have such a powerful metallic life form. Now it's your turn. Lu Ming's cold eyes swept across Huang Wu. Huang Wu was almost scared to death. He turned around and ran. However, how could his speed be faster than Qiuqiu? Qiuqiu directly flew over and smashed down on Huang Wu's head. Huang Wu tried his best to block, but he was also sent flying. He fell to the ground and spat out a large mouthful of blood. Just now, you said you wanted to break my limbs. Now I'll try it on you. Lu Ming stepped forward and his divine power condensed into a long spear. Lu Ming, don't you dare. Do you know who my big brother is? My big brother is Huang Wen, a heaven's favorite among the inner disciples. If you dare to hurt me, my big brother will not let you off. Huang Wu roared and threatened Lu Ming. You talk too much. I'll go. Lu Ming said coldly. He pulled out the long spear and hit Huang Wu's legs. Arg! Huang Wu screamed. His legs were broken, and his broken bones were visible as blood gushed out. Although he could recover from such injuries very quickly, the pain was real and would not be reduced at all. Ah, brat, you're dead. I'm going to turn you into ashes, Huang Wu roared. Bang, bang. Lu Ming waved his spear again, breaking the bones in Huang Wu's arms. Huang Wu lay on the ground like a pool of mud. Such great courage. The surrounding outer disciples all took in a cold breath. And NBSP he knew Huang was silent. One, Tai and still dared to be so ruthless. He was truly a ruthless person. Get lost. Lu Ming kicked Huang Wu and sent him flying. He turned into a black dot in the sky. If it was not for the Kong Xian sect's rule that killing was not allowed, Lu Ming would have killed Huang Wu without any hesitation. Ruthless, he's really ruthless. He'll definitely take revenge on Huang Wu. That's for sure. When the time comes, we'll invite his big brother. If we invite any random outer sect expert, Lu Ming will be in danger. You're too impulsive, not wise. The other outer sect disciples were discussing in secret. Lu Ming's gaze was somewhat unfocused. He was about to return to his room to continue cultivating and strive for a breakthrough as soon as possible. At this time, a beam of light flew over from the distant sky. A middle-aged man appeared in the sky. All disciples who have entered the sect for less than 3,000 years immediately gather at the square at the foot of the mountain. The man's voice boomed out, filling the entire area. After saying that, the middle-aged man repeated himself twice before turning around and leaving. Those who entered the sect within 3,000 years? Lu Ming was surprised and did not understand why. Looks like we'll have to go to that place. I'm so envious. That's right. If I can go there again, I'm afraid I can make a breakthrough in my cultivation. Some of the older outer sect disciples started to discuss among themselves, and many of them looked envious. Those who had just joined like Lu Ming were very surprised but did not ask much. They all flew down the mountain. At the foot of the mountain, there was a huge square. They would meet there. Little Qing. Lu Ming saw Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan the moment he arrived. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan were both women. Lu Ming. Xian Yanqing smiled when he saw Lu Ming and flew over. Many people cast their gazes at Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. What a beautiful woman. It's a pity that she's already taken. Who's that kid? He actually has such good fortune. I'm so envious. Many male disciples cast envious, jealous, and hateful gazes at Lu Ming. There were even more people who flew towards the female disciples and greeted them, taking the opportunity to close the distance. Chapter 2661 Plant Life. In a short while, more than 600 people had gathered in the square. They were all disciples who had entered the sect within the 3,000 years. At this moment, a few figures flew over from the distance. There were a total of 5 people, some old and some middle-aged. In the middle was a middle-aged man in a loose black robe. Everyone recognized that this was the symbol of an outer sect elder. As for the other 4, judging from their clothes, they had the symbol of an outer sect deacon. I've called you all here today to bring you to a place. It'll be a trial for you, but it'll also be an opportunity. It'll be a benefit for you. The outer sect elder said. Training? Everyone was surprised. That's right. On the Kongxian planet, there's a strange forest with a large number of plant life forms. These plant life forms are very strange. They have a kind of wood crystal in their bodies. This kind of wood crystal contains dense and pure energy. It's very easy for ethereal G.O.D. realm experts to absorb and refine it. It's a great help for ACCU, mulating and increasing divine power. It can help your cultivation base increase a step in a short time. According to the sect's rules, the forest only opens once every 3,000 years. Therefore, all disciples who have joined in the past 3,000 years can enter. Consider it a benefit for you to join the sect. However, some of those plant life forms are very aggressive, and some of them are poisonous. They are dangerous and can be considered a form of training for you. The outer sect elder explained. Everyone came to a sudden realization. Some people's gazes were filled with eagerness. To have such benefits when one just entered the sect, it was indeed worthy of being a top sect. Buzz. The outer sect elder waved his hand, and a divine combat sword appeared. It then grew rapidly, becoming hundreds of miles wide and then dozens of miles wide. Go up, it'll take you there. The outer sect elders and 4 outer sect deacons landed on the divine weapon greatsword first. Then, Lu Ming and the rest also flew onto the giant sword one by one. Let's go! The outer sect elder shouted. The huge sword turned into a rainbow light and flew into the distance at an extremely fast speed. Lu Ming and the rest were very stable on the giant sword. There were no fluctuations at all. What a fast speed! Is this the strength of a heavenly G.D.? Lu Ming looked at the mountains, rivers, and other things that flitted past in his surroundings. He sighed in his heart. It was too fast. Even with Lu Ming's eyesight, he could not see the scenery that flashed past. The outer sect elder of the Kongxian sect was at least a sky celestial. Such a person could use his body to cross the stars, so his speed was naturally amazing. However, Kongxian planet was too big. Even if a heavenly G.D. brought them there, it would still take some time. What? Lu Ming suddenly looked in one direction. He had sensed that someone was looking at him with killing intent. Lu Ming looked over and saw a few young men. They immediately turned their heads and pretended as if nothing happened. They have killing intent towards me. Are they Huang's people? Lu Ming thought to himself. Lu Ming, those few people have the intention to kill you. Xian Yanqing muttered. Obviously he had felt it too. Yes, I can feel it. We're in a forest. Be careful. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Xian Yanqing. The two of them chatted for a while and then sat down cross-legged. However, following that, Lu Ming could sense killing intent sweeping toward him from time to time. Although it was well hidden, Lu Ming's spiritual senses were sharp and he could clearly sense it. After a few hours, the giant sword stopped. There was a huge mountain range ahead. This mountain range was extremely vast. Ancient trees towered into the sky, and one could not see the end of it. The area of this mountain range was probably dozens of times larger than the area of the Heaven Realm, the Primordial Realm, and the Evil G.O.D. Realm combined. This is our destination, the Forest of Plants. There are a lot of plants living in it. Although the plants are not very strong, and there are almost no existences above the true G.O.D. realm, you should know your own strength. Don't lose your life because of greed. Also, you only have 3 months. After 3 months, you must come out. Go. The outer sect elder waved his hand. Buzz. And NBSP whoosh. Immediately, nearly 600 people turned into streaks of light and flew into the mountain range, rushing into the endless forest. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing also flew toward the mountain of plants. Let's go together. Xian Yanjuan appeared beside Lu Ming. All right. Lu Ming nodded. They flew for a while and then rushed into the vast mountain range of plants. The 4 of you, go in and take a look. If a true G.O.D. level plant life form is really born, kill it. After everyone had entered the mountain range, the outer sect elder instructed the 4 deacons. Yes. The 4 deacons' figures flickered, and they also rushed into the mountain range of plants. As for the outer sect elder, he was waiting outside. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Xian Yanjuan landed in a forest. It was quiet in the forest. Other than the sound of the wind, there was no other sound. Other than plants, there were no other living beings. The 3 of them observed for a while, and then went deep into the forest. When Lu Ming paused, said by an old vine, the old vine moved. Like a soft whip, it wrapped around Lu Ming. On the old vine, there were sharp thorns that glowed with a green light. It was obvious that they were poisonous. Plant life. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. A divine weapon sword appeared in his hand and he slashed out. The old vine was cut in half by Lu Ming and dark green liquid flowed out. Then, Lu Ming saw an old vine uprooting itself and running wildly in an attempt to escape. You still want to leave? Lu Ming cast the ROC Wings technique and caught up to the old vine in a flash. He slashed the root of the old vine. The old vine twitched a few times and stopped moving. Then, Lu Ming broke open the old vine and found a green crystal the size of a finger. It was a wood crystal and it contained a very rich energy essence. Let's check the energy. Lu Ming opened his mouth and inhaled, swallowing the wood crystal. Immediately, the wood crystal turned into rolling energy and poured into the divine fire. Soon, the energy of the wood crystal was directly transformed into divine power. As expected, it can be directly absorbed and transformed. Lu Ming sighed. Refining this wood crystal was even faster than refining a spirit-strengthening pill. However, that old vine was only at the first level of the ethereal G.O.D. realm, so it didn't have much energy. Then, the 3 of them continued forward. However, after walking for a while, he did not find any traces of plant life. Not all the plants in the forest were plant life forms. Many of them were not plant life forms, but just ordinary plants. If this plant life form doesn't take the initiative to attack, it'll be exactly the same as ordinary plants. It'll be very difficult to discover it, Xian Yanqing said. Lu Ming and Xian Yanjuan frowned. That was indeed the case. If the plant life form didn't take the initiative to attack, they might not be able to discover it even if it was right next to them. Lu Ming, try Qiuqiu. Qiuqiu is a metallic life form, similar to plant life forms. It's a special life form. Maybe you can sense it, Xian Yanqing suggested. Chapter 2662 The Sacred Son of Reflection Sect. Xian Yanqing's words made Lu Ming's eyes light up. That's right, Qiuqiu was a metallic life form, just like plant life forms. It could be considered a type of special life form. Could he sense it? Lu Ming immediately woke Qiuqiu up. Every time Qiuqiu transformed into a bangle and wore it on Lu Ming's hand, it was basically sleeping and digesting the divine artifact fragments and refining materials it had eaten. Crack, crack. Qiuqiu was awoken and transformed into a round metal ball. A huge mouth appeared on top of it, and it kept on biting. This glutton wants to eat the moment he wakes up. Lu Ming smiled speechlessly. He took out a fragment of a level 5 divine artifact and threw it to Qiuqiu. Qiuqiu bit it and ate it with loud crunching sounds. Sparks shot out from between its teeth, and a fragment of a grade 5 divine artifact was instantly destroyed by Qiuqiu. Qiuqiu, try to sense if there are plant life forms here. Let's see if you can sense them. Lu Ming continued to play the ball. Crack, crack. A pair of eyes appeared on Qiuqiu's mouth, and it started to look around. Buzz. All of a sudden, Qiuqiu flew out toward a tree that was as thick as a person's thigh and bit down. Buzz. Immediately, the tree jumped up and its branches swept around. The roots were like venomous snakes as they coiled around Qiuqiu. There really is. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Xian Yanjuan were overjoyed. This tree was right beside them, but they didn't feel it. Buzz. As soon as Xian Yanjuan got close to the tree, he made his move. With a flash of his sword, the tree was split into hundreds of pieces. The wood chips flew all over the sky and a wood crystal appeared in Xian Yanjuan's hand. Buzz. Following that, Qiuqiu flew to the other side and bit down on a plant that looked like a weed. Immediately, the plant also jumped up and ran wildly, but it was killed by Xian Yanqing's sword. Rustle, rustle. The next moment the plants around Lu Ming and the group seemed to have moved. At least a dozen types of plants moved. Their roots left the ground and ran wildly into the distance like feet. There were large trees that required a few people to wrap their arms around, slender bamboos, a few large locust trees, and a few old vines. So many, Lu Ming and the few of them were dumbfounded. These plant life forms were invisible when they didn't move. They didn't expect that there would be so many plant life forms around them. Were they trying to ambush them? Kill! Lu Ming and the other two did not hold back and charged towards the plant life forms. These plant life forms were not of high levels. The strongest one was only at 5th level Void G. D realm. Not long after, they were all killed by Lu Ming and the others, and they obtained more than 10 wood crystals. This kind of wood crystal was very easy to refine. After the three of them divided it evenly, they swallowed it on the spot and refined it. In less than an hour, he had refined all of them. Lu Ming felt that the divine power in his body had grown a lot. A wisp of divine fire burned in his dantian. Divine power kept flowing out and flowing in all his meridians. As long as his meridians were filled with divine power, Lu Ming would be able to break through to the martial D realm. Continue. Immediately, Lu Ming and the rest led Qiuqiu and started hunting the plant life forms. This forest only opened once every 3,000 years, and there were many plant life forms. A few days later, they had hunted hundreds of them and obtained hundreds of wood crystals, all of which were refined by the three of them. Lu Ming felt that the divine energy in his body was becoming more and more abundant. He was getting closer and closer to the day he could break through. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjin's cultivation base was slightly higher. They had reached the 3rd level of the Void G. D realm. They needed more energy to level up, but they had also made significant progress and were approaching the 4th level of the Void G. D realm quickly. A treasure land, this forest was really a treasure land. No wonder the outer sect elders said that it was a benefit for them. As long as he could kill plant life forms, his cultivation would rapidly increase. This was indeed a benefit. This was especially so for Lu Ming and the rest. They could hunt plant life very quickly, which was a rare benefit. Their cultivation speed was completely incomparable to normal cultivation. A 5th level virtual G. D level tree with a diameter of about 10 meters was split in half by Lu Ming's sword. When dealing with plant life forms, the combat sword was still more convenient. Lu Ming smiled. He was about to go over and peel the wood crystal when suddenly, Lu Ming's hair stood on end and he retreated rapidly. Boom! An arrow was shot from the front at an astonishing speed. It landed on the ground where he had just stepped on, blasting a huge pit in the ground. Lu Ming's face was a little gloomy as he looked ahead. In a flash, 5 young men, 4 men and 1 woman, appeared in front of him. One of the young men held a large bow. He appeared in front of the tree that Lu Ming had split open and dug out a wood crystal. It's such a waste to give these wood crystals to a few people who are about to die. The young man with the large bow smiled contemptuously. He looked at Lu Ming and the rest as if they were already dead. It's them. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes. These few people were the ones who had repeatedly emitted killing intent towards him. Did Huang Wu send you here? Lu Ming said. I can't say that. The bow-wielding youth smiled and said, Huang Wu and his brother Huang Wen are both under the sacred sun of reflection. You've injured the sacred sun of reflection's people. Do you still want to live? The sacred sun of reflection. Lu Ming understood now. These people were the same as Huang Wu. They were all from the sacred sun of reflection's faction. Lu Ming had abused Huang Wu twice. These people were here to avenge him. These two girls are really beautiful. It's a pity to kill them. How about this? He'll give you a chance. You two join us and serve us well and we'll spare your lives. The other young man had a lecherous look on his face. He looked at Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan evilly. Do you think you've got us all in the bag? Lu Ming said coldly. At the same time, he circulated his divine power, preparing for a big battle at any time. Lu Ming, you're pretty strong and you have a metallic life form. However, you'll definitely die in front of us. The young man with the large bow said coldly, and a powerful aura emanated from his body. And NBSP the other four circulated their divine power, their powerful auras and cold killing intent erupting from them. 2 7th level Void G. Oh. D Realm Martial Artists. 3 6th level Void G. Oh. D Realm Martial Artists. In an instant, Lu Ming could determine the other party's strength. His heart sank slightly. These young men had all been in the sect for 1,000 years or even 2,000 years. They were all very powerful. Needless to say, the divine power they controlled was king-grade divine power, which was not something ordinary people could compare to. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjin's combat strength was shocking, but their cultivation was limited. Even a 3rd level Void G. Oh. D Realm would find it difficult to deal with a 6th level Void G. Oh. D Realm. Given Lu Ming's abilities, he was no match for a 6th level Virtual G. Oh. D. Qiuqiu's strength was slightly stronger, but a 7th level Void G. Oh. D level existence was enough to stop him. The situation was not in their favor. At this time, a figure flashed in the sky, and an old man appeared. This old man was one of the 4 outer sect deacons. The old man saw everything that was happening below. Chapter 2663 Breaking out of the encirclement. The outer sect deacon stood high in the sky and could see everything that was happening below clearly. However, Lu Ming and the rest did not notice him. However, he did not stop her. This brat is so stubborn. My Tianhong faction invited him to join, but he refused. Since he doesn't want to join my Tianhong faction, he will be an enemy sooner or later. I can use the people from the Floating Light faction to get rid of him. There was a flash of ruthlessness in Lao Zi's eyes. The elder was from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. In the Kongxian sect, some outer deacons, inner deacons, outer elders, and even inner elders would join some factions to support a certain holy son or holy virgin to become the sect leader. Since Lu Ming did not want to join the Tianhong sect, he would be the enemy of the Tianhong sect if he joined another sect in the future. The old man chuckled, and in a flash, he left the place as if he had not seen anything. You too, surrender now. Otherwise, you'll end up in a miserable state. The young man with the bow looked at Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan and spoke again. That's right. Hurry up. I'll give you one last chance. Otherwise, you won't have another chance. The other 7th level Void G. Oh. D Realm young man also said coldly. Wait, let's charge together. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan. Lu Ming, Xian Yanjuan and I will cast the Dark Holy Light Cage together later to trap a 7th tier Virtual G. Then we'll charge together. Xian Yanqing replied. Lu Ming nodded silently. At this moment, the other party had already lost his patience. If you're so stubborn, then let's just kill them both. And NBSB fire. The bow-wielding youth shouted and pulled the bow. His G. Oh. D power surged, and an arrow shot out. Retreat! Lu Ming shouted in a low voice and retreated frantically with Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan. You wanna leave? The young man with the large bow shouted and shot an arrow. It was an arrow of light that was incomparably resplendent. Like a meteor, it shot toward Lu Ming, emitting a terrifying power. Lu Ming had used the fallen star bow before. He knew that the single target attack power of the bow and arrow as a weapon was extremely terrifying. Lu Ming did not dare to take it head-on. Qiu Qiu! Lu Ming waved his hand and Qiu Qiu flew out. It turned into a shield and blocked in front of him. Clang! The arrow was like a shooting star, hitting the shield that Qiu Qiu had transformed into. The shield trembled non-stop, but in the end, it was still blocked. Kill! At the same time, the other 4 young men and women charged at Lu Ming and the other 2. In particular, the 7th level Void G D-level powerhouse was the fastest and approached Lu Ming in the blink of an eye. Downwind sword slash, die! The young man bellowed as he swung his saber. A crescent-shaped saber light slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not have the time to think. He waved his long spear to block the attack. This long spear was a level 9 low-grade divine artifact. The long spear vibrated and Lu Ming exerted the incomplete divine skill to its maximum. Clang! The long spear and the saber light collided. Lu Ming felt an extremely terrifying force flowing along the long spear and surging toward him, wanting to tear his body apart. Lu Ming spat out a mouthful of blood and his body was sent flying hundreds of meters. Strong. He was too strong. With Lu Ming's current combat strength, he was no match for a 6th level virtual G. D-level powerhouse, let alone a 7th level virtual G. D-level powerhouse. The difference was too great. One move and Lu Ming was injured. However, with this delay, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan finally made their move. Dark Holy Light Technique. With 2 shouts, it was as if 2 suns had suddenly appeared in the sky, one pitch black and the other pure white. The black and white light intertwined and turned into a dark holy light cage, enveloping the 7th tier Void G D Realm Expert. Boom! The opponent's attack did not break the dark holy light cage. However, the other 3 6th level Void G D Realm powerhouses had also arrived. Boom! 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 The 3 of them attacked at the same time, launching a terrifying attack. Bush! Bush! Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan struck out with their swords, and their sword lights collided with their enemies. Clang! Clang! Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan used the force of the explosion to retreat. A level 9 low-grade G D artifact. The other party looked at the swords in Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjin's hands with greed. The swords in Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjin's hands were naturally given to them by Lu Ming. They were both level 9 low-grade divine artifacts. Retreat! Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan retreated to Lu Ming's side and the 3 of them continued to retreat. Qiu Qiu also flew back quickly and met up with Lu Ming and the rest. Don't even think about leaving, chase. The young man with the bow shouted and chased after them. The other 3 young men and women at the 6th level of the Void G D realm also gave chase. The young man with the large bow shot out another terrifying arrow, but it was blocked by Qiu Qiu. Boom! At this moment, the young man who was trapped in the dark holy light cage had also blasted open the dark holy light cage and was chasing after Lu Ming and the rest. The 2 sides, one chasing and the other fleeing, quickly went far away. We must kill them. At this moment, the 5 young men and women with bows in their hands were all shocked. After a short fight, they realized that the combat strength of Lu Ming and the rest was shockingly high. Lu Ming was only a demi-G D while Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan were only at 3rd level Void G D realm. How could they block their attacks with such cultivation bases? Sacred grade divine power. Lu Ming and the rest must have mastered the divine grade divine power. Otherwise, they would not be so powerful. Such a person must be killed. Leaving him alive would only bring disaster. Soon, both parties had covered 100 miles. Holy light escape technique. At that moment, Holy light emanated from Xian Yanjin's body, making him look like a holy maiden. Then, a pure white halo spread out and enveloped Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing and the other two. Immediately, their speed skyrocketed and became several times faster than before. They turned into a rainbow light and flew away, disappearing from the sight of the bow-wielding young man and the others. In it. The few young men roared. That must be some kind of secret technique to escape. There must be some residual effects from such a fast speed. Chase after them. This time we must kill them. The young man with the large bow said coldly. The 5 young men continued to chase in the direction where Lu Ming and the rest had disappeared. Xian Yanjuan carried Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing and flew for hundreds of thousands of miles before stopping. He spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. She's injured from using the holy light escape technique. Let's find a safe place first, Xian Yanqing said. Lu Ming nodded and left the place with Xian Yanjuan. Very quickly, they had run another few 100,000 miles. The others couldn't run as fast in the forest, because they didn't know when they would be attacked by the plant life forms. However, they had Qiu with them. It could sense the presence of plant life forms and avoid them in advance. Then they found a hidden valley and rushed in. As soon as they entered the valley, Lu Ming immediately took out a healing pill and fed it to Xian Yanjuan so that she could channel her energy to heal her injuries. Chapter 2664 Lu Ming becomes the sacred son of Floating Lights faction. Huangwu. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold glint. It was obvious that the other party wanted to get rid of him in the forest. This time, it was a close call but not a dangerous one. Break through, I must quickly break through. Lu Ming clenched his fists tightly. This time, it was all thanks to Qiu, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan. Xian Yanjuan had an extraordinary background. He risked his injuries and cast a secret escape technique to help them escape. Otherwise, Lu Ming would be in danger on his own. Lu Ming was in desperate need of strength. There were too many experts in the primeval universe and deities were everywhere. Lu Ming's current ability was too weak. After the previous cultivation, my divine power has strengthened a lot. If it's strengthened a little more, I can try to break through to the martial D realm. Lu Ming pondered. Then he swallowed a healing elixir and started to heal himself. Previously, he had received an attack from a 7th level Void D realm expert and was slightly injured. A few hours later, Lu Ming's injuries were fully healed. In his dantian, a wisp of divine fire was burning brightly. Divine power was constantly overflowing and flowing through his meridians. However, the density of the divine power was not complete. It was still lacking. Then let's give it a shot. Lu Ming took out 2 jade bottles. These 2 jade bottles were filled with spirit-strengthening pills. Lu Ming originally had 2 bottles of spirit-strengthening pills. Each bottle contained 9 pills. He had used a few pills in his previous cultivation and had more than 10 pills left. Xian Yanqing appeared beside Lu Ming in a flash. Lu Ming, go on with your cultivation. It'll protect you, Xian Yanqing said. The moment Lu Ming took out the spirit-strengthening pill, Xian Yanqing immediately understood what Lu Ming was thinking. All right. Lu Ming nodded. His eyes were filled with determination. He took a deep breath and inhaled the dozen or so spirit-strengthening pills. Boom, boom, boom. The effects of the spirit-strengthening pills were too strong. Once they dissolved, they turned into surging energy waves that surged through Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming gathered his energy. His divine fire burned fiercely and he began to refine the medicinal power frantically. Fortunately, the effect of the spirit-strengthening pill was to increase divine power, so it was not that difficult to refine. If it were any other type of elixir, Lu Ming would be torn apart if he were to consume so many of them at once, no matter how strong his physical body was. The rich medicinal power was continuously refined and transformed into divine power. Lu Ming's divine power was getting stronger and stronger. It was like mercury, flowing in his meridians. This was divine power. Divine power was much more powerful than world power. A wisp of divine power could easily penetrate the power of a world. Back then, if Lu Ming had not comprehended the way of the ruler and mastered the power of the ruler, it would have been impossible for him to fight against a virtual G.O.D. level with his heavenly emperor-level cultivation base. Only a heaven-defying power like the Path of Domination could allow Lu Ming, who was at the heavenly emperor realm, to fight against virtual G.O.D.s. Boom, boom, boom. When all the medicinal effects had been refined, the divine energy in Lu Ming's body was already very rich. It flowed continuously in his meridians and returned to the divine fire. That's enough. They'll try to break through to the martial G.O.D. realm. Lu Ming had an idea. Then, the divine fire in his dantian suddenly rose. Originally, the divine fire was only the size of a fist, but now, it was growing crazily. Even the divine energy flowing in Lu Ming's meridians seemed to have been ignited and turned into divine fire. And NBSP hoo-hoo. Lu Ming's entire person seemed to be enveloped in a ball of flames. Lu Ming was about to break through to the martial G.O.D. realm. Once he succeeded, his physical body would become a divine body. Those who had a divine body were G.O.D. 2 days pass, said just like that. Boom. A shocking aura suddenly burst out from his body. A pillar of light shot into the sky. The aura soared into the clouds. Between heaven and earth, endless divine qi surged toward Lu Ming. Not good. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjin's expressions changed. Such a huge commotion would probably attract the attention of others. Devour! At that moment, Lu Ming took out a large number of divine crystals and blasted them. Divine qi surged into Lu Ming's body and was refined into divine power. Boom, boom, boom. The divine fire in Lu Ming's dantian began to grow rapidly. The divine power in his body also became thicker and thicker. Lu Ming absorbed tens of thousands of divine crystals in one go before he stopped. He had reached the first level of the void G.O.D. realm. Lu Ming had completely become a G.O.D. and entered first-level virtual G.O.D. level, so his combat strength had increased greatly. My battle formula seems to have broken through. As soon as he had a breakthrough in his cultivation, Lu Ming had a feeling. He realized that his battle character formula had also broken through the bottleneck and entered a new realm. Previously, although the battle symbol art could 100% trigger the double combat power, it was very difficult to improve it. Now, Lu Ming felt that he could trigger the battle formula that tripled his combat power. That's right, 3 times the combat power. However, there should be a chance of success if his combat strength was tripled. It was the same as when he had doubled his combat strength in the past. It was impossible to have a 100% success rate. Lu Ming had to continue to comprehend. Let's go, well, leave this place first. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and stood up. The commotion caused by the breakthrough just now was huge, and he was afraid that it would attract the enemy. Let's go. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan also nodded. The 3 of them rushed out of the valley and into the depths of the forest. At this moment, there were indeed many people who were alarmed by the commotion caused by Lu Ming's breakthrough, and they came over. The 3 of them ran at top speed, but after a distance, they were still blocked. Brat, let's see where you're going to run. Stop. With a cold shout, 3 young men appeared in front of him, blocking his way. These 3 people were the 3 people who wanted to kill Lu Ming and the other 4. One of them was at the 7th level of the Void G.O.D. realm, while the other 2 were at the 6th level of the Void G.D. realm. Die, downwind sword slash. The 3 young men charged at Lu Ming at top speed. The 7th tier Void G.O.D. realm young man swung his saber again, and a terrifying saber light slashed at Lu Ming. Lu Ming waved his hand and Qiu flew out. It turned into a metal ball and collided with the other party. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Xian Yanjuan charged at the 2 6th-level Void G.O.D. level youths. Buzz. Lu Ming's spear swept towards the 6th-level Void G.O.D. level youth. The moment he attacked, Lu Ming had already activated the double combat power of the battle formula. Boom. There was a loud explosion and the young man's expression changed drastically. He had a look of disbelief on his face. Then his body was sent flying by Lu Ming like a cannonball. He crashed into a giant tree with a diameter of 10 meters and the giant tree was smashed into pieces. The other party was shocked. How did Lu Ming's strength suddenly increase? Kill! Lu Ming let out a long howl and charged towards the man. He had already broken through to the first level of the Void D realm, and his divine power was several times stronger than before. He could completely crush a 6th level Void D realm. When Lu Ming was a demi-D, he was able to fight against Huang Wu, who was at the 5th level of the Void D realm. He was able to suppress his opponent with a level 9 low-grade divine artifact. Now that he had broken through to virtual D level, Lu Ming could completely crush 6th level virtual D level existences. Moreover, he was a genius. In fact, Lu Ming could even fight against a 7th tier virtual D. One had to know that the higher one's cultivation was, the greater the gap between each level. It was not that easy to cross. Chapter 2665 Two factions joining hands. Whoosh! Lu Ming thrust his spear forward. The spear's radiance was dazzling as it charged toward the other party. The other party was shocked. He tried his best to resist, but it was useless. He was sent flying by Lu Ming. Even his divine weapon was sent flying and his arms were broken. Kill! Then, Lu Ming's long spear swept across and directly blew up the 6th level Void D level existence, killing him on the spot. The other two were shocked. At this moment, a ray of light shot towards Lu Ming at a terrifying speed. It was an arrow, a terrifying arrow. Without any hesitation, Lu Ming swept his long spear backward and collided with the arrow. Boom! An intense explosion sounded out as if the sun had exploded, creating shockwaves that spread out in all directions. Buzz! The long spear in Lu Ming's hands trembled continuously. A terrifying force surged through Lu Ming's long spear and charged towards him. Lu Ming's figure drifted backward. He only stopped after he retreated a few hundred meters. The attack power of these arrows is truly astonishing. Lu Ming felt that his arm was a little numb and he was secretly shocked. Brat, you can actually block my attack? A shocked voice was heard. In the forest far away, 7 or 8 figures flickered and rushed over. One of them was the young man with the big bow. Nest, there are so many people. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Before, there were only 5 of them, including the young man with the bow. Now, there were 5 or 6 more. Some of them had terrifying auras that were not any weaker than the young man with the bow. Needless to say, from the killing intent emanating from the other party, he was also from Huang Wu's sect. Right now, Lu Ming could barely contend against a 7th level Void D, but he could not defeat the other party. The key was that Lu Ming kept activating the battle character formula in an attempt to trigger the tripled combat power, but he kept failing. Little Qing, let's go! Lu Ming did not hesitate and rushed towards Xian Yanqing and the rest. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan had joined forces to defeat the 6th level ethereal D realm young man and had already suppressed him. Meanwhile, Qiuqiu was locked in a fierce battle with that 7th level Void D realm existence. Kill! He rushed to Xian Yanqing's side and stabbed the young man with his spear. The other party was shocked. However, he was already suppressed by Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming. How could he deal with Lu Ming? He was stabbed to death by Lu Ming. You're looking for death. 2 people had died in a row. The bow-wielding youth and the rest were furious. He shot another arrow, but it was blocked by Lu Ming's spear. Let's go! Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanjuan, and Qiuqiu also abandoned their opponents and ran in one direction. Chase him! We must kill him! Kill the Kill! Furious roars came from behind them as they charged toward Lu Ming and the rest. I'm still a little weak. Lu Ming was a little depressed. There were too many people on the other side. If there were only 5 people, they could still fight. But now, the number of people on the other side had doubled. If they were to fight, they would be in danger. The chase and escape covered thousands of miles in the blink of an eye. There was someone in front. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. If they had met other disciples of the sect, the people from the Floating Light faction would not have been so bold as to attack them in public. Although they were no longer in the sect, the other party would still have some reservations. However, Lu Ming's expression changed at the next moment. Lu Ming recognized one of the people in front of him. One of them was a young man in luxurious clothes from the Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. He had previously asked Lu Ming to meet the young man surnamed Ing with an extremely bad attitude. At that moment, the other party also saw Lu Ming and the rest. It's this brat. The eyes of the young man in luxurious clothes turned cold. This brat actually dared to reject the invitation of our Tianhong Saint Sun's faction. He'll be a disaster sooner or later. It's a good time to get rid of him now. Immediately, the young man in luxurious clothes and the others rushed toward Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming secretly groaned. He didn't expect to meet the young man in luxurious clothes and the others here. From the killing intent they emitted, it went without saying that they wanted to kill him as well. You want to kill me just because you refused to join the other party's camp. Lu Ming was filled with anger. When his strength increased in the future, he would definitely destroy the Tianhong Saint Sun's and the Transient Light Saint Sun's factions with his own hands. Brat die! A long sword appeared in the hand of the young man in luxurious clothes. He slashed out with a terrifying power. The young man had reached peak 7th level of Ethereal G.O.D. realm, which was not far from 8th level of Ethereal G.O.D. realm. His power was very shocking. Lu Ming and the rest were unwilling to fight head-on with the other party. Once they were entangled by the other party, they would be in trouble when the powerful enemies behind them caught up and surrounded them. With so many experts, once they joined forces, they would be in great danger. They immediately changed direction and rushed to the right. If you want to leave, then stay. The young man in luxurious clothes led a few people and chased after Lu Ming and the rest. Behind him, the bow-wielding youth and the others also chased after him. He's from the Floating Light faction. This kid injured Huang Wu, so it's normal for these people to want to kill him. The luxuriously dressed young man's heart moved, and he immediately knew what was going on. Let's join forces and kill this brat. The young man in luxurious clothes sent a message to the bow-wielding young man and the others. All right. The two parties teed off and chased after Lu Ming and the rest together. At this moment, a figure appeared in the sky. It was the outer sect deacon of the Tianhong faction. The old man's name was Lezhong. This kid is actually fine. He's really lucky. A cold light flashed in Lezhong's eyes, and then he looked back. From that direction, a ray of light was approaching at an extreme speed. It was another outer sect deacon. We can't let him ruin this. I'll stop him. He muttered to himself and then flew to another deacon. Lezhong, what's going on? I can feel a huge movement here. The deacon who came later said, It's fine. Some disciples are chasing after a few plant life forms. Don't worry, I'm here. Nothing will happen. He laughed. That's good. The deacon who came later did not doubt him. He nodded and left. Lu Ming and the rest ran for another 10,000 miles. They slowed down. When they reached this place, it became more and more remote. However, there were fewer and fewer plants, especially plant life forms. They almost did not encounter any. Suddenly, they discovered that an abyss had appeared in front of them. Blood-red mist was constantly emitting from the abyss, seriously blocking their vision and making it impossible to see what was inside. Let's go in. Lu Ming and the rest did not stop and rushed towards the abyss. In the abyss, there was a blood-red mist that obstructed his vision. This way, he could use the environment here to shake off the other party. However, when they reached the sky above the abyss, their expressions changed drastically. In the abyss, a terrifying gravitational force suddenly acted on their bodies. This gravitational force was too strong, making it difficult for them to fly. They directly fell into the abyss. Chapter 2666, Bloodthirsty Plant Life Form Lease Reading Omicron and Novel Cool. Omicron Lu Ming and the rest fell into the abyss like meteors, causing the luxuriously dressed young man, the bow-wielding young man and the rest who were chasing after them to be greatly shocked. They stopped in their tracks. The group landed beside the abyss, their faces solemn. They did not continue forward. This place is very evil. One feel uneasy. The young man in luxurious clothes muttered, "Let's surround this place first. If that brat doesn't die, hell definitely come out, and it won't be too late to kill him then." The young man with the bow said. He felt a little uneasy. In the end, they did not dare to enter the abyss. They decided to stay here and wait for Lu Ming to come out. In fact, they even sent voice transmissions to call for more help. This was because the strength of Lu Ming and the rest made them uneasy. They were too strong. They were simply too strong. Not long after, more and more people from the two factions arrived. There were more than 10 7th-level Void God Realm existences. However, no one was above the 8th level of the Void God Realm. After all, these people had all entered the sect in the last 3,000 years. It was already good enough for them to reach the 7th level of Ethereal God Realm. Lu Zhong naturally saw all of this, but he turned a blind eye to it. In the end, he simply left this place. After all, he was a deacon. If others knew that he deliberately indulged, it would not be good for him. Lu Ming, Xian Yinxing, and Xian Yinjuan kept falling. Fortunately, the abyss was not very high, only about 1,000 meters deep. Boom, boom, boom. The three of them adjusted their positions and stomped heavily on the ground, producing 3 loud bangs. Then, the three of them started to look around. This is... Lu Ming and the other two could not help but be shocked. At the bottom of the abyss, there were dead trees, rotten grass, and other things piled up together. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He saw a green flash among a pile of dead wood. He walked over and circulated his divine power to absorb it. A piece of green thing flew out. Wood crystal. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It was actually a wood crystal, and its energy was rich and powerful. Obviously, its level was not low. "There's one here too," Xian Yinxing exclaimed. She also found a piece of wood crystal in a pile of rotten grass. Their eyes were burning with passion. Could it be that many plant life forms had fallen here, and all the wood crystals had fallen here? If that was the case, wouldn't he be rich? Immediately, the three of them flickered and rummaged through the piles of dead wood and rotten grass. As expected, they continued to find more and more wood crystals. Those dead trees and rotten grass were obviously plant life forms. However, for some unknown reason, their essence energy had been lost and they had turned into dead trees and rotten grass, leaving behind only wood crystals. After a while, they found more than 10 wood crystals. Each of them had abundant energy, which was even more abundant than the wood crystals left by the 5th-level Ethereal God Realm plant life form they had killed. The plant life forms that left behind these wood crystals were all at least at the 5th level of the Void God Realm. Rich, let's continue. The three of them were very excited and started to sweep the bottom of the abyss. They did not expect that the bottom of the abyss would be such a treasure land. Moreover, the young man in luxurious clothes and the rest did not chase after them. Lu Ming speculated that the other party probably had some concerns and did not dare to chase after them. This way, they could plunder more without worry. Suddenly, a rustling sound rang out, causing the expressions of the few people to change. "Be careful, there's a living being approaching." Xian Yanjin's expression turned serious as she felt a sense of danger. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's faces were equally grave. Lu Ming even felt his hair stand on end and his heart clenched. It seems that the wood crystals here are indeed not that easy to get. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. The three of them formed a circle and looked around carefully. At this moment, the blood-colored fog in the abyss was even thicker. The rustling sound was getting closer and closer. Whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, there was a terrifying whistling sound coming from the ground. A few blood-red rays of light burst out from the ground and stabbed at them. "Be careful!" Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. A long spear appeared and swept out. Thump, Lu Ming's long spear seemed to have swept across a piece of leather. There was a loud thud, but the red light was not sent flying. Instead, it wrapped around him. It was a tentacle, a blood-red tentacle that looked like the root of a tree. At this moment, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan also made their moves. Their sword radiances slashed across the blood-red roots, leaving sword marks on them. However, they did not manage to cut them open. These roots were extremely hard. Boom! Lu Ming immediately activated the tripled combat strength. The long spear shook violently and 13 layers of strength burst out. Finally, the root was shaken away. Then, Lu Ming kept his long spear and took out a combat sword. To deal with such roots, the combat sword was more practical. Break! Lu Ming held the sword with both hands and unleashed his combat strength. The purple gold ruler's power burst out from the sword and slashed at one of the roots. The root was cut off by Lu Ming. Blood spurted out of the cut root, and the air was filled with blood. The roots seemed to be in pain. Not far away, there was a zhi sound. Then, the roots retracted. But the next moment, a giant creature appeared from the blood mist. What the hell is this thing? Lu Ming gasped at the sight of the huge object. This was also an ancient tree. Its entire body was blood red, and on its trunk, there were many tentacle-like roots that were constantly waving. Its roots were very well developed, and there were at least a few hundred of them. They were also like roots, but also like blood-red poisonous snakes. One look at them would make one's scalp tingle. There was no doubt that it was a plant life form, and an extremely terrifying one at that. This is an extremely rare bloodthirsty plant life form. It specializes in devouring the blood of other plant life forms, even the blood of other living creatures. Be careful, Xian Yanjuan reminded. This plant life form. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. When he was in the primordial realm's divine wilderness continent, he had encountered such plant life forms that specialized in devouring the blood of other living creatures. However, they were far from being this powerful. The ancient tree used its roots as legs and slithered toward Lu Ming and the rest, emitting a frightening aura. Then, dozens of blood-red roots swept toward Lu Ming and the other two with shocking power. Qiu flew out and bit down on one of the roots, directly breaking it. Lu Ming and the other two also launched their attacks. However, these roots were very hard and powerful. It was very difficult to cut them off. The most shocking thing was that even after they cut off the roots, the other party's roots would quickly heal and attack them again. 3 times the combat strength, burst. As Lu Ming attacked, he constantly triggered the battle formula, wanting to trigger the tripled combat power. Boom. After dozens of times, a powerful force emerged in Lu Ming's body. The tripling of combat power had been successfully triggered. Chapter 2667 Jianghu's portrait appears Lise reading Omicron N novel cool. Omicron after dozens of triggers, Lu Ming finally successfully triggered the double combat power of the battle character formula. Lu Ming's body exuded a strong fighting spirit. Lu Ming's fighting spirit soared. His combat strength had improved. The combat sword slashed through the air, and the 2 blood-red roots were cut in half, blood splattering everywhere. Kill! Lu Ming attacked rapidly, his combat sword slashing out continuously. At this moment, his combat strength had reached its peak in history. A few more tentacles were cut off. The sanguine ancient tree seemed to be in pain. Hundreds of its roots danced wildly and shrieked. Then, the hundreds of tentacles wrapped around Lu Ming, trying to strangle him to death and devour his blood. However, Qiu transformed into a semicircular shield and blocked in front of Lu Ming. The roots bombarded Qiu's body. Qiu's body was like mercury. It caved in from the impact and returned to its original state the next moment. Moreover, Qiu was a metallic life form and had no blood at all. The ancient blood-colored tree was completely helpless against Qiu. Dark Holy Light Technique. At this moment, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan joined forces and activated the Dark Holy Light Technique. Black and white light intertwined to form a dark holy light cage that enveloped the ancient blood-red tree. Good chance, ball, smash. Lu Ming shouted and pounced on the ancient blood-red tree like a ROC. At the same time, Chiu turned into a huge metal ball and smashed toward the ancient blood-red tree. The blood-red ancient tree waved its hundreds of roots wildly, bombarding the dark holy light cage, causing the cage to shake continuously. In addition, blood spikes emerged from the blood-colored ancient tree's body, flying in all directions like a hedgehog. Chiu was the first to pass through the holy light cage and crash down, sweeping away some blood spikes and blood-colored roots. Lu Ming followed closely behind Chiu and slashed with his sword. Lu Ming's slash left a wound that was a few meters long and half as deep on the ancient blood-colored tree. Blood gushed out like a spring. The ancient blood-colored tree's aura also rapidly weakened. Again, slash. Lu Ming swung his sword again. This time, the ancient blood-red tree was completely split into two. The blood-colored ancient tree was split in half and fell to the ground. Blood flowed all over the ground, giving off a disgusting smell. Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief. This ancient blood-red tree was very terrifying. They had to join forces and use all means to kill it. Lu Ming, be careful, suddenly, Xian Yanqing cried out anxiously. He pounced on Lu Ming and set up a sword screen in front of him. Bang! A particularly thick blood-colored root slammed into the sword curtain in front of Xian Yanqing. The sword curtain collapsed instantly, and Xian Yanqing was thrown back like a kite with a broken string, blood spurting out of his mouth. Little Qing. Lu Ming turned pale with fright. He moved and hugged Xian Yanqing by the waist. Xian Yanqing's face was pale. He had been seriously injured by the attack. Rustling sounds came from both sides of the abyss. Then huge creatures appeared in their sight. Ancient blood-colored trees. They were all ancient blood-colored trees. At a glance, there were at least dozens of them. One of them was especially tall, twice as tall as the other blood-colored ancient trees. Its thick roots waved around and made loud sounds. So many! Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanjuan, and the others felt their scalps go numb. It was already difficult to deal with one blood-colored ancient tree. How could they deal with so many of them? Furthermore, there was a terrifying gravitational pull in this abyss. They couldn't even fly or escape. Don't tell me that I'm going to die here today. Lu Ming had a thought in his mind and he was very unwilling. Xian Yanjin's body emitted a holy light. She was unwilling to die here as she still had things to do. She was going to risk her life. Dozens of blood-colored ancient trees let out ear-piercing screeches. Their roots waved like a group of demons dancing. The scene was terrifying. Buzz. The tallest and thickest blood-colored ancient tree made its move. A blood-colored root as thick as a bucket whipped toward Lu Ming and the group. Break! Xian Yanjuan shouted as holy light filled the air. His entire body seemed to have become one with the sword, turning into a holy sword and slashing at the root. Boom! The sword chi spread and the holy light was destroyed. Xian Yanjuan was sent flying and fell to the ground. Her body trembled and she spat out a mouthful of blood. The giant blood-red ancient tree was too strong for Xian Yanjuan to withstand. Buzz! The thick root continued to lash at them. "I'll do it, die!" Lu Ming shouted and rushed out. He circulated his ruler's divine power to the maximum. The combat sword in his hand glowed with a dazzling purple-gold light as he slashed at the thick root. However, the result was the same as before. Lu Ming felt a surge of terrifying power surging towards him, and he retreated rapidly. It couldn't be blocked. It couldn't be blocked at all. Dozens of sanguine ancient trees waved their roots and shrieked continuously. They slowly approached Lu Ming. They were not in a hurry to attack, as if they were toying with Lu Ming and the rest. Dozens of blood-colored ancient trees formed a circle, waving their roots. They were like a cage, completely surrounding Lu Ming and the rest. There was no way to escape. Lu Ming! Xian Yanqing's small hand was holding Lu Ming's big hand tightly. Chiu, they can't do anything to you. Wait a moment, you take the opportunity to escape. Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Chiu. Crack. Qiuqiu's round body spun around with all its might, looking like it was rejecting the offer. At this moment, the largest ancient blood tree shrieked madly, as if it had given its last order. Then all the other ancient blood trees attacked together. Tens of thousands of roots wrapped around Lu Ming and the rest. They were about to be drowned by the endless blood-colored roots. At this moment, the shocking feather portrait in Lu Ming's sea of consciousness moved. It flew out of Lu Ming's sea of consciousness and hovered above Lu Ming's head. It emitted a dazzling purple-gold light, like a light shield, enveloping Lu Ming and the rest. Boom, boom, boom. The tentacles. The light shield, but they were all blocked. Lu Ming was extremely surprised. Jingye's portrait had actually moved at this moment. In the past, Lu Ming had also encountered fatal danger. However, the Jianghu portrait had never moved. Why did it move now? Could it be related to my breakthrough to the ethereal D realm? Lu Ming's heart stirred. Baya had once said that there were layers of restrictions on Jianghu's portrait. It could only be activated when Lu Ming's cultivation had reached a certain level. Perhaps, Jingye's portrait only had such a reaction when Lu Ming's cultivation level had broken through to virtual D level. At this moment, the eyes of Jingye's portrait lit up like two stars, and an unparalleled pressure exploded forth. The blood-colored ancient trees seemed to be extremely terrified. They screamed and waved their roots, running away. In the blink of an eye, not a single tree was left. Chapter 2668 Heaven and Earth Thousand Dao Art Lease Reading Omicron and Novel Cool. Omicron. In the blink of an eye, all the blood-colored ancient trees had disappeared. Lu Ming and the few of them were somewhat dumbfounded. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan looked at Jingye's portrait in surprise. At that moment, the light on Jingye's portrait dimmed and it flew back into Lu Ming's consciousness. At the same time, a message emerged from Jingye's portrait. Lu Ming's eyes moved. The information that emerged from Jingye's portrait was a divine art and 2 divine skills. Universe Thousand Dao Scripture. 3 apocalyptic strikes, 9-stage crimson gold armor. The Heaven and Earth Thousand Dao Scripture was a divine technique, the 3 apocalyptic strikes was an offensive divine technique, and the 9-layer crimson gold armor was a defensive divine technique. Other than that, there was no other information. Lu Ming had sworn on his life force origin that he would do something for Jianghu, but he had not revealed any information. Could it be that my cultivation is not high enough, so I didn't reveal any information to prevent myself from dying in vain? Lu Ming had to make such a guess. However, he didn't have time to think about it now. He had to search for wood crystals first. Let's collect the wood crystals first, Lu Ming said. Immediately, they quickly collected wood crystals at the bottom of the abyss. There were so many blood-red ancient trees in the abyss. Obviously, many plant life forms had died under the blood-red ancient trees, leaving only wood crystals, branches, and leaves. The few of them gathered along the side of the abyss. After walking for a few dozen miles, they came to the end of the abyss and saw a huge cave with blood-colored mist constantly spreading out. It was obvious that some of the blood-colored ancient trees were hiding in the cave and did not dare to come out. It seems that these ancient blood-colored trees are really afraid. Lu Ming revealed a smile. Then they went back to the other side of the abyss. After a few dozen miles, they reached the end of the abyss. There was a huge cave here, and the blood-red ancient trees didn't dare to come out. What a great harvest! At the thought of the wood crystals he had collected this time, Lu Ming's face was full of smiles. They had collected a few hundred wood crystals of high quality. It was definitely a big harvest. If they could refine all of them, their cultivation would definitely be greatly improved. Those people are probably waiting up there. Why don't we refine the wood crystal here first, and then kill our way out? Xian Yanking's eyes flashed with cold killing intent. All right. Lu Ming nodded. He also wanted to take a good look at the divine skills and techniques he had just obtained. Immediately, the 3 of them sat down cross-legged in the middle of the abyss. At this position, if the blood-colored ancient trees were to launch a sneak attack, they would be able to discover them in time and have time to respond. Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan each took out a wood crystal and swallowed it. Qiu, help us observe the surrounding situation. Lu Ming was not in a hurry to refine the wood crystal. He let Qiu protect them first and then looked at the newly acquired divine techniques and skills in detail. First, Lu Ming looked at the Universe Thousand Dao scripture. Lu Ming focused his mind and the Universe Thousand Dao scripture became clear in his mind. Lines of words and even pictures appeared in his mind. After a while, Lu Ming finished reading the Universe Thousand Dao scripture. Lu Ming was shocked by the Universe Thousand Dao scripture. The Heaven and Earth Thousand Dao scripture was a mystical technique that specialized in cultivating divine power. Its level of abstrusity had exceeded Lu Ming's expectations. If one cultivated this wondrous technique to its peak, one could directly cultivate ruler divine power, but this was only the foundation. And NBSP, after cultivating a ruler's divine power, one could cultivate other techniques, and the divine power cultivated from other techniques could coexist with a ruler's divine power. And NBSP, the most shocking thing was that other divine techniques did not need to be cultivated to their peak. As long as they could cultivate a wisp of divine power, they did not need to continue cultivating, because that divine power would increase with the increase in ruler divine power. For example, if Lu Ming cultivated the Heaven and Earth Thousand Dao scripture to its peak and then cultivated another divine technique, he could light another divine fire beside the original divine fire. Every time he cultivated a different divine technique, he would be able to light up another divine flame. These divine flames would increase in power as his ruler's divine power increased. Heaven-defying, this was simply heaven-defying. One had to know that an ordinary person could only cultivate one divine fire. According to the records of the Heaven and Earth Thousand Dao scripture, it was possible to cultivate an infinite number of divine flames, as long as one had different divine techniques. Lu Ming was amazed. His heart was burning with passion. Such a divine technique was truly heaven-defying. The last paragraph of the Universe Thousand Dao scripture was Jing Ye's annotation. Jingyu said, Jingyu had acquired the Universe Myriad Dao art from a forbidden region. Jingyu had relied on the Universe Myriad Dao art to master hegemon-level divine power. Jingyu was not like Lu Ming, who had not cultivated any divine techniques and could control the divine power of Start cultivating. Lu Ming could not wait to experience the profoundness of the Universe Thousand Dao scripture. The Universe Thousand Dao scripture had a total of 12 stages. Only by cultivating to the 12th stage would one be able to control hegemon divine power. Lu Ming closed his eyes and began to cultivate according to the instructions. He opened his eyes after a few minutes. That was because he had successfully cultivated the first level, and his speed was astonishing. Continue. Lu Ming continued to cultivate. After a while, Lu Ming had cultivated to the second level, then the third level. In a short half an hour, Lu Ming had cultivated to the 6th level in one go. This was very normal. When one cultivated the Universe Thousand Dao scripture to the 12th stage, one would be able to control ruler's divine power. However, Lu Ming had already controlled the ruler's divine power to begin with. Cultivating the Universe Thousand Dao scripture was naturally like riding a rocket. There was no bottleneck and he soared all the way. Lu Ming realized that as he cultivated the Universe Thousand Dao scripture more and more, the divine power in his body was also gradually becoming more robust. He was slowly approaching the second level of the Void D realm. Moreover, Lu Ming was even more adept at using the ruler's divine power. He had also discovered many of the mysteries of the ruler's divine power. In the past, Lu Ming had no direction when he cultivated the ruler's divine power. He had to figure it out on his own and comprehend Jingyu's portrait, moving forward in a blur. Now, with the Heaven and Earth Thousand Dao scripture, Lu Ming had a direction, and a path. This way, he could truly unleash some of the mysteries of the ruler's strength. Continue. Lu Ming buried himself in cultivation. Towards the end of his cultivation, his progress slowed down slightly. However, 3 days later, Lu Ming had still cultivated the Universe Thousand Dao scripture to the highest level, the 12th stage. Boom. When Lu Ming had cultivated the Universe Thousand Dao scripture to the 12th stage, the divine fire burned fiercely in his dantian and his body grew bigger. The divine power in his body surged and became much stronger. He had broken through. His cultivation had broken through to the second level of the void G-O-D realm. Chapter 2669 Ninefold Divine Skill Lease Reading Omicron and Novel Cool. Omicron M. He didn't refine divine crystals or wood crystals. He only cultivated the Universe Thousand Dao scripture to the 12th level and his cultivation had a breakthrough. Moreover, Lu Ming felt that he could use the ruler's divine power more easily than before. According to the Heaven and Earth Thousand Dao scripture, I've already reached the 12th level. I can practice other divine techniques and light another divine fire near the original divine fire. Unfortunately, there are no other divine techniques. Lu Ming sighed. At the same time, he began to think about how to get a few divine techniques to cultivate after he returned to the sect. There were different levels of divine techniques. They were divided into king grade, saint grade, and divine grade wondrous techniques. A king grade wondrous technique could be cultivated to king grade divine power when cultivated to its peak. When a divine grade technique was cultivated to its peak, it could be cultivated to divine grade divine power. As for divine grade divine arts and wondrous techniques, one would be able to cultivate divine grade divine power when they were cultivated to the peak. The higher the level, the higher the value. Each of the Qin Heaven 13 clans had a divine grade technique. However, each of them was a sect's treasure. Only the true core figures had the right to cultivate it. The 3 overlord forces all had divine grade divine skills. In addition, as the head of the top 10 sects, it was said that the Kong Xian sect had several divine grade techniques. The divine grade and divine grade techniques were too precious. Naturally, Lu Ming could not get his hands on them now. However, the king grade techniques were not so precious. It was still possible for him to get them. At the very least, in a powerful faction like the Qin Heavenly 13 clans, there should still be quite a few king grade divine arts and wondrous techniques. Although it was only at the king grade, if Lu Ming cultivated and ignited one more divine fire, his abilities would definitely be stronger. The key was that the Heaven and Earth Thousand Dao scripture was too mysterious. Lu Ming did not need to cultivate other divine techniques to the peak. He only needed to cultivate a wisp of divine power. Under the drive of the Heaven and Earth Thousand Dao scripture, he would naturally be able to achieve the corresponding level of divine power. Boom, boom. At this moment, 2 powerful auras emanated from Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan. The 2 of them had broken through. The speed of refining the wood crystals was too fast. After a few days of refining, their cultivation had directly broken through from the 3rd level of the void G-O-D realm to the 4th level. Soon, the 2 of them calmed down. However, there were still a lot of wood crystals left. The 2 of them continued to refine. Let's take a look at the other 2 G-O-D skills. Lu Ming was looking forward to it. He was not in a hurry to refine the wood crystal and improve his cultivation. He had been making consecutive breakthroughs recently, so he had to stop and stabilize his cultivation. Otherwise, it was easy for his foundation to become unstable. He was different from Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan. Xian Yanjuan had merged her previous life with this life, which meant that she was reborn from her previous life. Her cultivation base was far higher than her current cultivation base. As long as she had a large amount of resources, her cultivation base could improve quickly. Xian Yanqing had devoured her past life in this life, but she still inherited all the memories of her past life. Even though her personality and her will were all from this life. However, she had inherited the memories of her previous life. Her vision and martial will were still very high. Although they were not as good as Xian Yanjin's, they were still extraordinary. Therefore, even if she improved quickly, her realm would not be unstable. Next, Lu Ming looked through the 2 divine skills in detail. Ninefold divine skill. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. The two divine skills were both ninefold divine skills, which meant that these two divine skills could be cultivated to the ninth fold. Ninefold divine skills were extremely rare and precious. The more one cultivated, the more powerful they would be. People like the ancestor of technique, Kang Ji, and Sidu Haonan only had one triple divine skill. This was a complete delay skill, not an incomplete delay skill. It was much more powerful. The 9-stage crimson gold armor was a defensive divine skill. After successfully cultivating it, a crimson gold battle armor would form on the surface of one's body, and its defensive power would be shocking. The higher the cultivation, the stronger the defense and even the powerful rebound force. If it was cultivated to the 9th level, its power would be unimaginable. 3 apocalyptic strikes, an attack-type divine skill, with a total of 3 moves. Break the sky, slash the moon, and explode the stars. Of the 3 forms, each was stronger than the previous, but also more difficult to master. At the first stage, one could use the Qi piercing. Only after cultivating it to the 4th level would he be able to unleash the power of moon splitting. As for the supernova, he could only use it after he had cultivated it to the 7th level. Can I cultivate now? Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Theoretically, one had to be at least at peak Void G. D realm to be able to use the full power of the skill. This was because using a divine skill consumed an astonishing amount of divine power. However, Lu Ming controlled DS divine power. It could not be compared to other divine powers. It was very strong and might be able to exert some power. Since I can't raise my cultivation now, I'll just cultivate for a while. Lu Ming made his decision and started to study the 3 apocalyptic strikes. There was no doubt that the divine skill was very mysterious. Fortunately, Lu Ming had previously cultivated an incomplete divine skill and had cultivated it to a very high level. It would be easier for him. Even so, Lu Ming spent a full half a month before he finally learned the basics of the 3 apocalyptic strikes. The 3 apocalyptic strikes was a simple attack technique that could be used with many weapons, such as swords, sabers, spears, axes, and so on. Lu Ming took out his long spear and quickly circulated his divine power. His entire person became sharp. The long spear suddenly thrust forward. A spear light pierced through his body and blasted toward the stone wall on one side of the abyss. Like a long spear piercing into tofu, a small hole appeared in the stone wall, so deep that the bottom could not be seen. What a powerful might! Lu Ming was pleasantly surprised. However, he pulled a long face immediately because he felt that the divine energy in his body was almost exhausted. Using a divine skill really consumed too much divine power. Although he controlled Ruler's divine power, he was only at the 2nd level of the Void D realm. It was still too difficult for him to use a divine skill. If other people did not control divine-grade divine power and their cultivation was only at the 2nd level of the Void D realm, they would not be able to use divine skills at all. Let's recover first. Lu Ming walked to the side and took out some divine crystals. He started to absorb the divine qi from the divine crystals to recover his divine energy. Just as he recovered a little, Lu Ming felt Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjin's auras expand. He was about to break through again. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. In the past half a month, Xian Yanqing and Xian Yanjuan had refined most of the wood crystals that were given to them. They finally began to break through again. Soon, they successfully broke through, and their auras stabilized. 5th level Void D realm. Such a breakthrough speed was truly shocking. How long had it been since they arrived in this forest? This forest is really a blessing. Lu Ming smiled. This was a benefit for the new disciples. As long as they had the strength and could get enough wood crystals, their strength would soar in a short time. Lu Ming continued to consume divine crystals. Soon, his divine power was restored to its peak. Now let's go up. Xian Yanqing said as he walked over. I also have the same intention. Lu Ming's eyes flashed with a cold glint. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.